Yeah, I got one of those actually.
It's starting kind of now,
Yeah.
getting the feel.
Yeah. Finally. I kind of felt it this morning, so. All right, I'm gonna go get started. Wow, we have a full house today. What do we do? Good afternoon. Welcome to the West-MEC Governing Board regular meeting. And leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence, we have Carol Rizano. 10 minutes.
Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. All right, next item on the agenda is I need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Call the question.
Jerry, I abstain by mistake on that, yes.
Just change that. Says, go back to your. Change it. It's a person.
Yeah. I think.
Raise.
Never mind.
Thanks, Frank. Okay, motion passes. Next item is annual board organization meeting and we elect the governing board chairman, so I need to read one short question here.
We just have to get a nomination.
Yes, so that'll be, so the question is, I open the nomination for the office of chairman. And then I need someone to make a nomination.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate. But for the chair, I'd like to nominate yourself to stay.
Okay, thank you. And
I
then-
second that.
You said.
And I accept.
You have to read that question to yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
I'll drink to that.
Do you accept the nomination? Yes, I accept the nomination. Are there any other nominations? No? Okay,
3 times.
all right. Any other nominations? Any other nominations?
Mr. Chairman, I move that nominations be closed. I'll
Good.
second.
All right. So then, at that point, we, as current board chair, asked to nominations, we have, okay, so we have Juan Ramirez nominated as governing board chairman. I will entertain the motion to elect the governing board chairman. So, you're making a motion, Chair. Okay,
Elect you by acclamation.
okay, so a second.
Take the vote.
Okay, go ahead and call the question then.
That's. Just for one.
Oh, the motion was from Robert.
It's from Frank and then I second it.
Okay. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks, everyone.
Congratulations, sir.
Nice. Second year, yes. All right, moving on to election of vice chairman. So I open the nominations for the office of vice chairman.
I'd like to nominate Ed
Ed Molina.
and Bruce Molina for vice chair.
Okay, we have a second from Ms. Buzos. Mr. Ed Molina, do you accept the nomination? Okay, are there any other nominations? Any other nominations?
Vice Chair now.
What's that, sir?
Vice Chair now is Robert, isn't it?
Yes.
You don't want to run again?
No, I don't have the bandwidth. Third is time.
Third call for nominations? None? Okay, hearing none.
Mr. Chairman, I move that nominations be closed.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right. I need a motion to elect Ed Molina as governing board vice chairman.
I would move that we elect Mr. Molina by acclamation.
The vote is on.
Sit up front.
Get my chair back.
That's okay, Robert, I'll take it.
You get the results?
Yeah. That's-
Okay, congratulations, Mr. Molina.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. All right,
Go home.
yeah. All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda. Looks like a summary of current events. Start with Superintendent Dr. Scott Spurgeon.
Chairman Ramirez, governing board, so just a kind of a short time because we had a holiday break, so happy new year to each of you and I hope you had a great break. A couple items, I was able to attend the West-MEC State of the State Luncheon today at Phoenix International Raceway, so very well attended, probably 50+ state food folks, so more than 50 to 500 folks there today, so a lot of chance to visit with some people and make some connections, so it was a great and well attended activity. Some tours that we were able to perform since last we met. We did the Southeast Campus Level 2 area box walk. And what that means is construction company at times will put little pictures of like Ethernet connections and TAP connections and other things. So we do a box walk and they have pictures. So we make sure that we get everything laid out in each of the rooms that we want in those certain spaces. So it's nice to be able to see that before they go walk in the sheetrock and everything else that's done. So we were able to get that done. We actually had a meeting with the Peoria leadership team to finish up the leases there. And the good news is we're working through that any lease payments that we have sent to thus far will count towards the purchase of those two properties, which has been fantastic. So they've been a great group to work with. I was able to attend the Pebble Creek Rotary meeting and was inducted as a new Rotarian for Pebble Creek. So I'll be able to attend a few of those. Megan Mills and I was also a member. So we're very happy to be able to see that group. They were one of the groups that came out during the bond issue presentations and toured our Southwest campus. So they had a great time out there, which is really great to hear. Right before Christmas, we were able to do our contractor interview meetings and the selection meeting. So you'll see that later in the meeting to be able to recommend the two contractors for both the North and the South Peoria campus. And again, no money tonight. We're just saying that these individuals meet the criteria to be the contractor for these two projects. So we're very excited to present those two later this evening. I was able to attend the 2026 Economic Development meeting in Buckeye. And if you have not been at 10 and Verado lately, you need to go. You can hardly see our building now. I mean, the Verado crossing and the Buckeye and that their economic development vision plan that's coming out there is just incredible. It's just incredible. So just they look for some tremendous growth and I actually had never seen Buckeye, the actual border of the Buckeye itself. And I think it's as big, if not bigger than the actual Phoenix outline. And so that's how much property they have available. Right there, it goes way past the white tanks and all the way up to 60 and all the way down south. So they're looking for some really good economic development coming in their way. And then we met with the Steeple team yesterday, getting ready for the sale of our bonds to determine how much we're going to go out and sell for. And I want to make sure that each of you recognize, set up 3 days like we did before. For board members, if you want to come in and talk through the bond and the sale and things like that, we're going to welcome any of you, no more than 3 at a time, to come in and have Steve will give you a presentation. So you're well versed on the bond process and how that works and what we're going to do. So with that being said, I think that concludes my short report.
Thank you. Moving on to brief summary current events from the board, starting with Mr. Steins. Have anything you'd like to share?
Need to report.
No? Okay. Mr. Vice Chair Molina.
I had the opportunity to I attended the city council meeting for the city of Peoria, which I normally do, and had the opportunity to speak with their economic development director, Maria, and her and her entire team are equally excited about working with West-MEC, and they're really looking forward to breaking ground on both campuses, the one in South Peoria and the one up in Estancia. And I think they'll bend over backwards to help us move that project along as quickly as possible.
Chairman Griswold might make a comment. It's also wanted to be in the city of Peoria, they've just given an award for the move they made with Amcor. I want business terminals by the move from where we are now to where they put Amcor up out just north of the 303. So they received an award for really a very strategic move. Congratulations to them. Yeah.
I don't have anything to report.
Thank you.
Well, I was just down in the 303 down there by I-17. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And I have to throw this out. When I moved here in 1970, Maricopa County had 650,000 people in it. Today, 55 years later, there's 4,650,000 people. That's in 55 years, 4 million additional people. Our growth is just going to be, it's going to continue. I mean, I bet it's 4 million in the next 10 years. It's just unbelievable.
Something like that.
210 a day.
Well, I moved here in 1955.
Yeah, but I mean, just 55 years, that's 4 million people. Anyway, that's 2 cents.
I had a nice where water.
Okay.
Yeah, the water.
Mr. Garcia. So I'd like to thank Matt for giving a tour during the holidays. It's really good, lot of good remarks from that tour. So a lot of excitement from the local residents of Goodyear. So I thought that was really interesting. I want to thank him for that. And that's all I. Thank you.
I just want to make a comment over since our last governing board meeting. Just keep hearing from more comments, great comments about West-MEC and the great things West-MEC is doing and how much our reputation is just being elevated by the work that we do. And I'm hearing it from just friends, people in the community, parents, former students. And I mean, it's wonderful to hear. So it's a validation of the great work that West-MEC is doing, that you guys are all doing. And so, we look forward to helping as much with that effort as I can. So
Very much. Tremendous team here.
very good team. Right, let me see, so. Okay, call to the public. Do we have anyone from the public speaking today? Second call to the public. Third call. Okay. Hearing none, moving on to recognitions and celebrations. And I believe we have Mr. Dr. Spurgeon.
Yeah, first and foremost, so January is School Board Recognition Month, the time to honor our governing board members' remarkable contributions to West-MEC and Arizona's public education system. The dedication, leadership, and countless hours of service by our governing board ensures student success, advocacy for public education, and represents the voices of our communities. Thank you, Ms. Linda Busum, Mr. Robert Garcia, Mr. Edward Molina, Mr. Juan Ramirez, Mr. Terry Steins, Mr. Frank Straka, and Ms. Barbara Wiley. Thank you for your dedicated service and your support of all of our great work. Thank you.
We have Miss Shelley Thorne also doing a presentation. Okay. And Miss Marilyn Baviard. I think that's it.
Good evening. Board Chair, Mr. Ramirez, and governing board members, Dr. Spurgeon. Pardon me, I've got a little throat thing going. It is my pleasure today to recognize Colleen as our Employee of the Month. Typically, I try not to read a script when speaking because I think it doesn't convey as much attention to what's going on, but Colleen has done so much. I would take about 2 hours of your time if I didn't focus in on a couple of talking points. So I'm going to go ahead and use my speech so that some other people can get through some tonight too. So it would be 2 hours if I got to have my way. But Colleen's impact at West-MEC is the result of 10 years of dedicated service to West-MEC. complemented by her 25 years in education as a whole. Her commitment to students, staff, and partners is evident in everything she does and who she is. One of her most significant accomplishments was that she is the person that opened our project search site at Renaissance 10 years ago. Doing that took unbelievable vision, relationship building, persistence, and much, much more to do that. Because of her leadership, our site at Renaissance is not just operational, it is thriving. She's both a collaborative partner and a confident leader. At her site of Project Search program, she is known for bringing people together, listening deeply, and leading with purpose. She's developed an innovative approach to ensuring that interns receive the accommodations they need to be successful in the workplace, but always striking a great balance between high expectations and that meaningful support that they deserve. One example of her forward-thinking approach is her wonderful Focus and Flourish meetings that she's created. They are a proactive game changer for interns. These meetings allow her to identify needs early, celebrate growth, and create a culture where the interns truly feel seen, heard, supported, and most of all, empowered. Through her years of consistent engagement, she has earned the unbelievable trust and respect of our Renaissance Hotel leadership, and she's recognized as part of their team and sits in all of their management meetings. This level of collaboration allows her to be aware of all the daily operations within the hotel, the changing environment, and that allows her intern to work with our interns to be able to learn about the flexibility that's needed to be able to work in a fast-paced, real-world environment. The results of what Colleen does each and every day speak for themselves. Her interns are employed at a higher rate, much, much higher rate actually, than our state level of employment for individuals with disabilities. And she has many, many interns go on to become Employee of the Month in their respective workplace, whether it's at Glendale Renaissance Hotel or other sites that they've chosen to work at. This is something that is to be celebrated. And most often we hear things about their collaborative approach, the interns having problem-solving skills, and professionalism that's on a level that you just can't imagine. Colleen's influence goes far beyond her role. She builds confidence, creates opportunities, and changes lives. We're grateful for her leadership, innovation, and unwavering support, and want to not only ask you to join us in recognizing her as Employee of the Month, but we actually have a representative from her hotel leadership team that came tonight to recognize her as well. That is unbelievable partnership that she has built. So thank you, Leah, and our whole team, and you for recognizing Colleen as our first ever ESS Employee of the Month. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Ramirez, the board, and Dr. Spurgeon. I am very honored to have this. Could not do it without my team, of course, and the hotel support all these years. My biggest supporter, my daughter, she's 16. She couldn't come because she's in her West-MEC program. She does medical assisting over at the North East Campus, so she's doing that tonight, so she couldn't be here. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Yes, on his right.
You wanna be unbalanced here.
Oh, it's 2 years. There's something about that.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations, getting going. There's something to.
Yes. Grant, thank you so much.
Tell you last week, said the graduation, I had a friend of his here. I know some of his daughters. Oh,
Hey.
they were so.
So
Couldn't tell me enough good things.
good. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, TV on.
Yeah, it's a buster now at the hotel. Just got nominated for Employee of the Month.
Thank
Thank you so much. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Here, after.
Now we're happy. You're saying.
David Baviar, Ms. Marilyn Baviar, Executive Director for Student Services.
You're sitting next to.
See what I mean?
Well, thank you. Mr. Ramirez, Dr. Spurgeon, I'm so happy to be here today to recognize Carol Rosano.
And sad.
So it is my honor to recognize Carol Rosano for her years of service in education and community. Before working at West-MEC, Carol worked in an accounting firm and had 5 years of teaching in New Jersey. After she moved to Goodyear in 2004, Carol worked in the Liberty School District as a teacher. And then she and her husband opened their own business called Lotus Bagels up in Australia. Still is there, it's not theirs, but she taught them how to do it, right? It's really good. Carol has now completed 10 years at West-MEC. Her first 3 years, Carol worked with Chris Cook in the START facility.
Survived.
And at the time, START even had a coding program. So not only was she administrative assistant for communications and PR, but she worked with the coding program for students' grades, attendance, and discipline. Student Services has been blessed to have Carol as their administrative assistant for the past 7 years. Carol is what we call the air traffic controller to a very busy student services department. Carol was also awarded the Outstanding CTE Administrative Professional in 2024 from ACTE-AZ. In her years of service, Carol has been an integral part of career services and credentials, dual enrollment, community college programs and payments, ESS and project search, recruitment and open houses, application and enrollment, the recognition ceremony, professional development planning, school calendars, school data, turning the page, handbook and tuition payment agreements, counselor grants, budgeting and visions, and numerous committees that have made a difference to the employees at West-MEC. Carol has a keen eye and a sharp brain. Carol will be deeply missed, but we are overjoyed that she will get the opportunity to retire and enjoy her life with her husband, Fred, who is in the audience, her 4 boys, 2 of which are here, their wives, and her 3 grandchildren that are here as well. We wish her the very best and wanted you to learn just a little bit more about the awesome employees that we have here at West-MEC. Please help me thank Carol Rosano for her years of service.
Mr. Ramirez, Governing Board, and Dr. Spurgeon, thank you so much for the kind words. I'm truly touched. I've genuinely enjoyed my time at West-MEC. I love the people I work with and the work itself, so diverse that no 2 days are ever the same. I'm deeply grateful for the support, mentorship, and friendships that I have experienced here. West-MEC provides incredible opportunities for students, and it's truly a great day to be at West-MEC.
It is.
In 2012, my husband was the superintendent overseeing the first renovation of the START building. One day he came home from work and said, "I know where you should work, West-MEC. It's a great place. Everyone's so nice." Sadly, I couldn't apply right away because I was obligated for 3 more years to a bagel store my husband decided to show. Once we sold the store, I watched for an opening, and now you know the rest of the story. Retirement's definitely gonna be an adjustment. I started babysitting at 9 years old and I've worked ever since. So this whole not setting an alarm thing feels a little suspicious. I hope my brain doesn't rot, although I do plan to keep busy, traveling, spending time with family, organizing photos I should have organized years ago, playing pinochle, and attempting to grow a successful garden. After 3 years of farming failure, I'm proud to report I now have a 2-inch eggplant. It's the only plant that has survived, so expectations are high. I would like to thank my coworkers, friends, and family for being here tonight. And thank you again for everything. I'll always be grateful for my time at West-MEC.
It's like you don't get a question.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Me too, that song takes a lot of work. You know what I mean?
Recognizing recognition.
Okay.
Only with his personality. They lose you.
That's who I am. The job description.
Oh, yeah.
I keep busy.
All right. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations, Carol.
Someday. 6 more years. I mean, 6 more. 6 more.
Why not, right?
You'll be gone though by then. Governor, more for you.
Right, next item on the agenda, we have a presentation from Miss Elizabeth Knudsen, Director of Career and Technical Education at Hilla Bend School District.
Right.
Hello, Governing Board, Dr. Spurgeon. My name is Elizabeth Knudsen and I am the CT Director and Culinary Arts Instructor at Hilla Bend High School. We're entering into, I think it's our 4th or 5th year of sending our students to West-MEC. Does this change or do I have to have somebody do it? So I just want to give you some updates on some of the things that we've been doing with funding that we have gained from West-MEC. We get a West-MEC transportation grant, and with that, I'm allowed to do 2 runs a day for our students. I send 21 students a day from Hilla Bend to our Southwest campus and the Agua Fria Career Academy, or the Career Academy at Agua Fria. They participate in a variety of programs. I have students in all kinds of things, and I'll go over that a little bit more. So I do 2 runs per day, starting at 5:15 in the morning.
Oh.
Yes, our students get up that early. That is my largest group that I send. I send 13 in the morning, and they all get up. Rarely do they miss a day. They're all there, they're all dedicated, and they are my rock stars. I'm very proud of them. And then the other ones, they leave at noon to get to their classes at Southwest Campus at 1 p.m. So that was a little bit easier. They got off.
Yeah.
They got off a lot easier. They always say, Miss, why does the other group get to leave at that time and we have to leave at that? And I'm like, you guys are going a little bit further. But they do very well. I'm very proud of them. Some other things that we have done with funding is capital items for culinary arts. We have purchased brand new stoves to be a little bit closer to industry, as close as I can be with what my facility allows. So we bought 8 new ranges. It was about $30,000, and then a new fridge and freezer. Last fall, the stoves were just put in December, and then we did a little bit of a culinary arts refresh. So there was a little bit of a poor design when the culinary arts room was done. So we had to go in and change a few things, take out some stations and make more classroom space. So it was safer for our students and more easily for them to maneuver around. So that's some of the things that we have done with funding. Some highlights that I wanted to share with you is, like I said, the culinary arts remodel refresh is done. I invite anyone to come down and see it. I should have thought about it, put pictures in, but I totally spaced. It was Christmas break and I invite any of you guys to come down. The kids would love to show it off. So that was done in December and we moved back in. We're in, we start cooking next week and the kids are jazzed. Applications for West-MEC continue to rise each year. I know it says we had 40 last year and only about 18, it's up to about 24 this year. If we look at percentage wise, last year we had an abnormally large sophomore class, which was about 60. For Hilla Bend, they're about 40. So we had an unusually large group that was able to apply for West-MEC. I swear.
Get my heart racing when you do.
No, I'm like,
Stand in. Very sorry.
just like, I did not call cavalry, I promise. So if we look at percentage wise, they are pretty similar, but that number keeps going up. I had 3 more kids apply today because I do all of the applications for our West-MEC programs. So, and that number goes up daily. And then we have, like I said, 21 students that attend West-MEC every day. The 13 that go to Southwest Campus and the Career Academy at Agua Fria. I have kids in programs auto, vet, dental and medical assisting are our most popular ones to apply for, followed by welding and automotive. Then we have the energy program, which our one student who is in that program actually works for SRP in Gila Bend for an internship. So he's already well on his way to starting his career whenever he's done. We actually had to do a little bit of finagling to make it work so he could do West-MEC, attend his high school classes and participate in that, or else he would have had to drop West-MEC. And we're like, no, that can't happen. So we worked it out and he will be the first one that completes the energy program and has the internship at SRP and ready to go. Yes.
Can I ask you a question? How many
Yes.
students do you have?
I have 160.
160.
Yes, so the kids at West-MEC is about 13% of our high school. But we have about 65% that participate in a CTE program.
Yeah.
Through culinary arts and West-MEC. I have a little bit more. I'm sorry?
How many miles from that to?
Southwest Campus? It is about 40. Yeah, but it's right there at that Verado intersection where everything gets congested, so we actually have to take our kids from Gila Bend up to the Career Academy at Agua Fria and then come back to Southwest Campus. So the kids that do HVAC at Agua Fria can make it there on time, and our kids at Southwest Campus don't get there too early. Yes.
Are your students given priority to these campuses?
I don't know what you.
Well, priority, you know, as far as applications and stuff, they have to qualify, just like.
Yeah, they have to qualify, just like they have to fill out the rubric and everything, you know, they go through the same process. We'll have a few.
We do give consideration to make sure we make as many kids on the bus as we can. They're eligible to apply.
I kind of tapped out. I can do about 28 kids a day. So I have about 7 more spots I could fill. And I'm hoping with the new campus that kind of pulls some of the kids out of Southwest Campus and reallocates them up to here and opens up a couple more spots for me in Gila Bend so I can have 2 full vans and send 28 a day. That is my goal. We'll see how it works out. That's all for future stuff. The 2 boys that go up to the Career Academy are doing HVAC. One is a senior, one is a junior. The one that is a junior has already applied for a second program doing electrical trade specialty. He's very excited, and he also wants to kind of see about working a work-based learning program in at school so he can help our maintenance department with our ACs.
Oh, that's great.
So we're working on that right now. I gotta talk to my superintendent. We're working out the logistics of it. So that is what he hopes to do next year, is to do school, go to his second program, and then help on campus.
Yeah.
That is what his plan is. And then some future goals, culinary arts, we'd like to expand our school-based enterprise. I'd like to open a coffee shop on campus, and there is a space I'm eyeing. I just have to get it all like done out and approved. Because we have our new building that we moved into about 5 years ago, and then we have a building that was built in 2008, and they're kind of like our newest buildings on campus. And there's an empty room that could be turned easily into a coffee shop. So I'm trying to work my way into that. And then I'm trying to increase our industry certifications earned. I have 20 kids this spring that we are going to do either Serve Safe, Always Food Safe, one of the 2, a manager food course. We're probably gonna start that in about 2.5 weeks. I'm doing all the paperwork for it right now, and then we'll go through it. So that's kind of what's going on with culinary arts. And then the other thing I'm working on is growing programs at Gila Bend. I just applied for 3 of the innovative grants through West-MEC. 2 of them are approved and 1 is in discussion. They have to bring it to Dr. Spurgeon. So for technology device maintenance, that will open fall of 2026. And with this grant that we received, law and public safety will also be opening fall 2026. So that's a very interesting how that came to be for us. So we are right next to San Lucie Reservation, Tohono O'odham, and they have Tohono O'odham Police Department, and one of their officers has come and built a relationship with our kids in the school, and they don't have an office there. So we were kind of like, hey, if we house you like on our campus, of course you have to leave them to respond to a call, but would you be willing to teach a course and be kind of our SRO? He goes, absolutely. And we've already talked it through everybody, and everybody's cool. He's like, if you get the funding for it, I'll teach it. So we're gonna start with a very small group of law and public safety in the fall. That is the plan, and then build from there. And then the other one that we are working on is early childhood education. Because we already have an all-day preschool, early preschool and regular preschool, so we have 2 and 3-year-olds, and then 3 and 4-year-olds. So it's the perfect spot to build in early childhood education. So that is the 4th program that I'm going for. As of right now, about 65% of our kids participate in a CTE program through culinary arts or West-MEC. What I'm aiming for in the next 2 years is that 100% of our kids will participate in a CTE program, and within 5 years, I would like to be as close to 80 to 90% of our kids completing CTE courses with their certificates. That is my goal. That's what I'm working towards. I have programs that I would love to add. I've always wanted to add program. And I've talked to Dr. Spurgeon multiple times about some ways that we can achieve getting some programs, because we are a major stop on I-8 going towards Yuma, going towards Casa Grande. There's a high need for diesel mechanics, high need for welding. We're ready to build another I'm gonna get this wrong. APS is building some kind of relay station out there. It'll start in about 2 years building. So we're gonna have a need for that. So I'm always thinking, how can I find more programs? How can I add more things for our kids? And the other thing that I've looked at, I'm very passionate about, is rural CTE. Unfortunately, we kind of get left behind a little bit because we don't have access to this. So something I've talked to Dr. Spurgeon about, I've talked to Jared about, is how can rural schools partner together to make CTE more attainable? Because we have another school that's 40 minutes away, and unfortunately, they're part of Pima JTED. But their Pima JTED is 2.5 hours away.
Oh,
yeah.
So how do we help each other? Like, cause this is for the kids. So my thing is, what can we do to make rural CTE accessible for everyone? So that's one thing that I'm passionate about. And then, like you said, I've talked to Dr. Spurgeon, I've talked to Jared about it. What can we do? How can we help all of these kids? So that's something I'm working on and that I always work towards, is try to figure out what can we do to get kids in programs so they can build their careers and their futures. I think what else? I don't know. Stop talking, because I can just keep going. Because I've got my hands on all of it on campus. Like, I know what's going on. We have JAG program. I know what's going on there. Yeah. I guess so. You guys have any questions?
a lot. Yeah, it's impressive.
Population in and around Hilo Bend now.
With snowbirds, probably close to 1,500 right now. Yeah, no, but right now about 1,200. Probably about 1,200. We're a high agriculture area. We're high like the solar plants.
Right.
We have a lot of work there. But other than that, it's like gas stations, convenience stores, a random mom and pop auto shop.
There was that huge power plant with the 5 generating stations
Yeah,
just
that-
north of Hilo Bend.
SRP.
SRP's taking over the
Yes.
entire thing.
And that's where they're a big partner with us. They help out our JAG program a lot. And that's how we ended up with the internship that the one young man is in for SRP and in the energy program. That's how we ended up there. I think it might actually be 2 this year, but the other student is just in JAG, not at West-MEC.
Mandy, you're very ambitious.
I would try, I got it.
I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
The question, are all your transportation costs covered by?
West-MEC, yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's about $100,000 is the grant that we applied through West-MEC. That covers a full-time driver, the maintenance on our van, and then gas costs and of course insurance and all those little fun things that the business office likes to talk about.
So before all of it, okay.
Yeah,
great.
without that grant and without West-MEC's help, we could not get these kids there. Like, it is life-changing for our kids. Like I said, about 13% of them go to West-MEC. And if I can increase that number a little bit more, these kids don't have a chance otherwise. We are a very low socioeconomic environment. Their families do not have vehicles to get them there. They don't have the means to attend school, like a higher education. So this is their only chance for some of them.
1,500 people that are out in Hilo-Bend. Where are they employed?
The dairies, the farms. There's some that are at the auxiliary base, which is right outside. It's just a gunnery range. It's not a fully operational base anymore. There's little convenience stores and things like that. There's Calgon carbon plant, but what they hire is what they hire. You rarely see any new people going in out there. There's a couple hotels, but other than that, a lot of people travel to go work.
We use your buses and we pay for the driver.
Yes. Yep. We have one van that is dedicated to West-MEC only. That's all it does. and one person, that's all they do. They start, yep, and they start at 5 o'clock and they get done at about 4:45. So they do that every day. She has been our rock. Without her, we would be lost.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I might butcher this name. So coming up next, we have Miss Marcy Botcher, Director of Career and Technical Education at Saddle Mountain School. And we also have Miss Adam Show.
Yes.
Law Public Safety Teacher.
Okay, well, thank you, President Ramirez, Governing Board, and Dr. Spurgeon. My name is Marcy Betcher. This is my 4th year now as the CT Director out in Saddle Mountain. And so I'm a lot more comfortable this time than 2 years ago now speaking. So some of the West-MEC funding support that we really appreciate is the CTSO support. We have about 200 students who are involved in a variety of the CTSO events, from attending fall leaderships to state to regionals, nationals, and we try to cover all of that. Like Gila Bend, we are a Title I community, so we just really try to alleviate any extra expenses from our students that we can. Another thing too is our industry equipment. So this past year I purchased a 3D printer, and it was for the whole CT department, but software, she knows what she's doing, so she uses it a lot. I also redid our whole entire graphics programs lab, updated their labs to be more industry ready. So we moved from Macs to PCs. I updated a ton of construction carpentry equipment just to make it, some of it was pretty old, like 2015. So we updated a lot of that. We started our law and public safety program a couple years ago. Last year is in the 3rd year. That's when I got Mr. Shawn, who comes from the industry. So we purchased a lot of items that, I just let my teachers tell me, you work with your advisory board, give me the rationale. I don't know if I've ever really turned any of them down, to be honest, as long as it fits industry certifications, industry equipment, what is needed. I just give them stuff. And so they like me, which is nice. And then some of our certifications. So we did OSHA 10, we do Parapro food handler certifications. There's some computer science ones as well, Java. Some I don't always understand, but they are part of that computer world. We're looking at doing one for law and public safety this year, but he hasn't told me which one he's doing yet. Again, he wants to make sure that it is going to be applicable for the students to use outside. We usually have 100% passing rate in the certifications that we do offer. It's a huge draw for construction, carpentry, I'm sorry. We're phasing into carpentry with the OSHA 10 certification for them. The parents love it, the kids love it. Some of our PDs that also we use West-MEC funding for. Summer conference, I just returned from Visions. I brought my early childhood teacher. Mr. Shawn went to the LAPSN, which is a law and public safety conference that was tied right into Vision. So I was able to send them that so they can go out and kind of learn a lot more and network. And it's been nice. I can start bringing some teachers with me because there's so much great information out there. And when you're one person just going, it doesn't always, you can't do everything. One thing we started new last year, I kind of copied from West-MEC, is a CT summer camp. And the reason why I did it is because we do promote the CT summer camp at West-MEC, and for, again, transportation reasons, just being way out in Tonopah. So we offer it to only incoming middle school students. Last year was the first year. I was really just nervous, wasn't sure how the turnout was going to be, and it was wonderful. We had parents at Future Freshmen last week who came up to me and said, my kid's going to do this program because of last year. They wanted to come back this summer. I said, it's not for incoming high school kids, but I love that they enjoyed it. It was an opportunity for them to pick a program. They got free t-shirts. We gave them food. They were happy. It was fun to see the first day where nobody was talking, and by the end, they were so excited for high school. And some of them were, 6th grade this year. So they were sad that they had to wait a couple years. So that was really great experience. CTA basically also runs our Future Freshman Day kind of by accident. When I started as a director, the principal at that time just said, hey, do you want to do this? And I took it from him. And And I just kind of went with it. So we bring over all the 8th graders, they go through all of the CT programs, they spend about 15 to 20 minutes in each program, a lot of hands-on. We also do introduce them to our other electives, our fine arts, really just fine arts and CT is the only two that we have time for in the afternoon. Yeah, that was the only two. But the kids love it, and I always try to get feedback from them on how I can improve it every year so that they can, you know, just kind of explore CTE. One thing I do talk about a lot too at the Future Freshman Parent Night is West-MEC, because we have a lot of kids whose siblings go to West-MEC, and so we warn them from freshman year, you have to have good grades, you have to be on track to graduate, you have to have good attendance and behavior, because we do get quite a bit of students who apply, and sometimes just think they can get in. And it's an application, which I love because it does make it a competitive, and then it makes those students to really realize that they have to take education serious. All education, not just the CT, but even, you know, their core classes in order for them to be accepted at West-MEC. So the growth, basically, this is in CTE. So in 24-25, that's when we started our traditional schedule. Prior to that, we were in blocks. So we had 616 students in a CTE program. This year, we have currently 710 students in a CTE program, out of 867 students at our school. So 83% of them are in a CT program.
It's awesome.
And we currently have 56 who are attending West-MEC. Now, when I turned this in, submitted this was in December. So the set for next year, that number has jumped to 832 students who will be in at least one CTE program out of 900. So that'll be 92% of our students. We started this last year, we require all freshmen to take a CT class. So that's been a huge part of it. Last time I checked, 75 had applied to West-MEC, so obviously we're going through that process right now. Generally, I wish I could tell you off the top of my head how many applied last year compared to how many get accepted, but a lot of our students, because a lot of, you know, we're right by Palo Verde. So our students do the energy, the water. We always tell the students if they're going for some of the more competitive programs, their opportunities may not be as much. We have welding is huge. We have a female actually apply for the welding program at West-MEC this year, so that was awesome to see. But generally, most of them do get accepted for the most part, but a lot of them that don't, it's just because it's a high, you know, it's a competitive program. And so they cannot get in. And we have it too, where they can only apply for West-MEC programs that we do not offer at our school. With the exception of, I was just looking yesterday and took off some holds because kids wanted to go into construction, and our carpentry could have 2 full-time teachers and still have a wait list. So I'm like, okay, we'll push you through to West-MEC because they won't, you know, if they want that opportunity versus, you know, not getting that class at all. Let's see. Oh, so that's all I have to say. I'm kind of quick, sorry. But I'm going to introduce Mr. Shawn here. He is our new law and public safety teacher. He has done an absolutely fabulous job, especially with industry relations. And so I thought he could speak more to that.
Pleasure to be here. Like Marcy said, recently got back from a conference, the Lapson Conference, and she just, you heard it from her mouth, she just said that she doesn't say no to us when we want pieces of equipment. It's a rather large dollar item that I really want. One of those items is a virtual reality type simulator that we can put our students through so that they can experience scenario-based training. And it's almost like a big video game to them, but it's an opportunity for us to assess their ability for decision-making when it comes to use of force scenarios. And it's very important to the future of our program. On the slide, you can see some of the photos. These are photos of our students and some things that we've been actively engaged in this year. One of the biggest things that I am super proud of is the relationship that we've built with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. And our location of our campus, as you know, Tonopah is on the very west end, and we are a rural area. And it is difficult to get people in the Phoenix Valley to come out to our campus to be guest speakers. And the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office I owe a huge thanks to, because they've made themselves available to us. And they've surpassed anything that I thought that they would ever offer for us. And a lot of it has to do with the current sheriff, Jerry Sheridan, and the people that he's assigned to those different roles. But we have built the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office Cadet Program out of our campus, which is huge. And like Marcy had said, I am from industry. I was a police officer. I was a head explorer advisor at the agency that I worked for, and I'm a product of being successful in law enforcement because of my my involvement with the Explorer program. And what we've essentially done is we've created one that meets out of our campus. And these students now have an opportunity to engage in work-based learning on a whole different level than anything I could just solely offer them while I have them in my classroom. One of the great things that we have also set up through their community outreach program is we take monthly trips to various locations. You see in a photo there that the kids went to Lake Patrol, and they had the opportunity to realize that there's plenty of professions within the law enforcement profession, and they had no idea that there were deputies that went in every day to work and got on a horseback and patrolled our waterways and different trailheads. The other things that they have been involved in this year, a majority of our students don't even know the concept or have any idea what 9/11 even was. Through the 100 Club of Arizona and through their generosity, we were able to have our students participate in the 9/11 Tower Challenge in Glendale, where they did just as many number of steps as there are in the Twin Towers. And they had an opportunity to network with people in public safety, in industry and the public safety profession. I think that's about it.
Well, you also have MCSO, they come in like every other week. And do.
Oh, and then, yes, and then on top of having the MCSO cadet program, MCSO comes in and we have guest speakers that come into our classroom. Specialty assignments, SWAT, bombs, K9, come in and present to our students. And one of the other great opportunities on their end is you only have to be 18 to be a corrections officer. And the sheriff's office is always looking for corrections officers. So it's an opportunity for students to, we call it the gap years, because you can't get your sworn certification until you're 21. So those gap years are 18 to 21, and it's a great stepping stone and opportunity for them to go ahead and enter the workforce. Piggybacking on certification, I haven't pulled the trigger on what I want to do just yet, but guard certifications is obviously available within our industry. And then one thing that we were looking at is drones. Technology and use of drones is in every industry is being utilized. And it's being utilized heavily in law enforcement. So if these students could graduate with the certification piloting drones, it's an employability skill that they wouldn't otherwise have. So that's one of the other things that we're. Questions?
Before, this is not on the slide because I just got this the other day on Sunday, but we, as you all know, the West Valley's satellite schools were all being monitored by the state this year. So I finally got my results on Sunday, and I have 7 programs. 3 of them, including law and public safety, carpentry and medical assisting, were complimentary this year because he's in his 3rd year, carpentry is in his 3rd year, and we had a pause medical assisting, so they look at it as a 1 year. But all the other 3 of the 4 were distinguished. And the one that wasn't distinguished is just because we're waiting for information from the state CTSO, but then he will be distinguished. So I was just super proud of my teachers they're just doing wonderful. Again, this is my 4th year and this is the 1st year. I've just said, if anything had ever happened, my teachers want to leave, I would wholeheartedly just recommend them to anybody, not that they're leaving, but if they did, I just have such a great team that makes my life so much easier, and they've done great things for the kids. And that's also why our numbers have gone up a lot too, because they're fabulous. So again, thank you for all of your support. We couldn't do what we do without your support. My federal and state priority grants, we maybe have 1 program. So we have our programs because of West-MEC, and we do truly greatly appreciate that. So any questions? Yes.
I've just put in a plug for the simulator. I would say you showed tremendous restraint being in a rural area. You should have asked for a helicopter. And some horses. For a simulator seems like a nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. All right, moving on to campus updates. Mr. Jared Guile, you're already up. Assistant Superintendent for Teaching, Learning, and Campus Operations.
Good evening, Chairman Ramirez, members of the board, Dr. Spurgeon, thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. I'm gonna do a quick just introduction really, and as quickly as possible, turn it over to our campus administrators to really give an update. So kind of shifting gears, it's great, so great to hear from Gila Bend and Saddle Mountain and our satellite districts, so much tremendous work that's going on in our satellite programs. It's important that we always highlight and celebrate those good things. Now we're gonna shift gears and we're gonna talk about our central programs and give a little mid-year update as we normally do with some progress and goals on those campuses. But before we jump into our campuses, I want to just provide you with a little snapshot, some enrollment numbers, a little bit of check on some metrics, as well as a snapshot of application and enrollment, some things that you guys had asked about previously. So snapshot just of our current enrollment on our campuses. As you see there, total, we have a little over 2,800 students on our campuses. You see the breakdown there by each one of our campuses of where those students are at and the numbers on those campuses just for your reference. That number obviously is going to continue growing every year for the next several years, but that's where we're at currently. As far as metrics and some of our key performance indicators that we look at mid-year, things are looking very good. Our campuses, our teachers, our campus leaders are just doing tremendous work every single day out there, as you guys get to see glimpses of all the time. So just a few metrics. So far in the first semester, we have over 4,000 credentials that have been earned by students across our campuses throughout our programs. Just for reference, last year, this time that number was about 3,700, a little over 3,700. So we are continue to beat our marks every single year and are on pace to surpass our credential marks again this year. So those things are looking great. Looking just at completers that have earned a high value credential, those preferred and required credentials, we have over half our students, 54%, that have already earned those. That's with knowing a lot of those do come at the end of the program or in the second half of the year. So that number will really start to increase over the next several months. 99% of our students earned a C or higher in their program. So they are achieving in their programs. They're not just showing up and getting by. They are thriving in those programs and being very successful. Our attendance rate and our student retention remain very, very high numbers. So just great snapshot of data on the work that we're doing. So transitioning from our current students and kind of some of our current mid-year actions with our current students, I want to give you a snapshot of application and enrollment for next year. So while we're in the middle of the work this year with our current students, we also simultaneously, as you guys know, are enrolling students we're in the application phase right now, and then we'll be enrolling students later this spring. This graphic here, I know it might be difficult to see, but bottom line is we just wanted to, where we're at in time right now in that process is really in that accepting those applications, and then we're going through the process right now of completed and approved, what we call it. So students have applied for our programs. They're in the process right now of in the hands of their homeschool counselor, and then very soon on after January 27th, those applications that have been gone through the check with their counselor and the rubric scores and all that whole process, we will receive those and start the actual enrolling students and our priority enrollment for those students in programs starting in really January through March. So that's kind of where we're at. So some of the numbers I'm going to show you are our application numbers, which will be different once we go through that big filter of going through their counselors, right? And then actually enrolling students in the programs. So currently right now where we stand, as of January 5th. Our total applications we had, we have 4,448. That number is different. That number changes every day right now because those are still coming in. But just, we had to make a snapshot in time on January 5th, and that's where we were at. And you see the total seats available for next year. So that's the seats that we have available for new students to come in to programs next year. And so you can see we have obviously more applications right now than we have spots available. You can see the programs specifically where we have more applications than seats available. Again, this process will play out over the next several months, and there will be waiting lists in some programs. Students will be moved around to second and third choices. And it's it's an ongoing process throughout the spring. But just wanted you guys to see and hopefully answer some of your questions about where applications are at, that enrollment process as we stand right now. So again, quick snapshot of where we're at mid-year with current enrollment and where we're going with application. And with that, I'm excited. Yes, Dr. Spurgeon.
So just real quick, just so you, that 26-24 number is just new seats available. We still have second year students that will return. That number doesn't reflect that. So you'll have probably another 1,000+ students you add to that number that are second year students coming back. These are just open seats for first year students.
So before I turn it over to Mr. Johnson first, just want to highlight all those metrics you guys see, everything that happens with our students. Without our campus leaders making it happen on the campuses, it simply would not happen. So we're an amazing leadership team. And so I'm happy to turn it over to Vince.
Sure, Ramirez Governing Board, Dr. Spurgeon, excited to give you a little snapshot of the Career Academy. So we're gonna start, you'll see this with all of us. So as we go through these goals, really the number one goal for us was to get moved into our new facility, get set up, make sure labs are operational. So we checked that one off. We moved in September 8th and we're rocking and rolling now in everything we did. So as we look at these goals, you're gonna see the 91% are gonna receive that high value credential, 80% are gonna pass the district assessment with the 70% or higher. 98% of completers will leave with a purposeful career plan. The campus will maintain a 93% or above attendance rate for the year. And then 92% of students will pass the ADE technical skills assessment. So that's a state test for our programs. So those are our 5 goals. Looking at those, a lot of those are gonna be familiar to as we work through. The attendance one was one we really worked on as a campus. If you ever attend an advisory council meeting, right, what is the feedback we get? Those professional skills. We hear all the time and our teachers really talk about, right? We want students who are gonna come in who show up to work every time, on time, and show up to work every day. So that's why we created that, was really feedback, working with the industry feedback as we kind of work through that. And we do different things to really highlight that and talk about the importance with our students for them.
I remember one advisory committee meeting I was at, there was a man that showed up because he had to see what West-MEC is doing. He has a West-MEC student working for him and he wanted to know all about it.
Absolutely. So to kind of go through where we're at, so just a mid-year reflection on our goals. So our previous goal, learning, making the most of our temporary spaces, we did that, and we're very blessed. The Olive Free High School Union District, allowed us to, for those first 4.5 weeks, we were on their campus to be able to maximize. We're very blessed for them and the partnership that they did. They've been a great partner for us. So goal number 1, so with that, we currently have 60% of our students in the first semester earns a high value credential. So that was a great accomplishment. We were able to move some things around in terms of our curriculum with that setting to be able to help meet some of those. Goal 2, 23% of our students have passed with a 70% or higher on that district assessment. So the way that works is the students take a pre-test at the beginning of the year, take a benchmark test in December, and then they'll take their post-test at the end of the year. So during that benchmark test mid-year, they're actually taking that full test. So that they haven't learned all that curriculum and there's still a lot to learn in that. So that's why, as we look at the number, we're progressing very well in that, even though those numbers wouldn't be where we want to be at the end of the year. Number 3, as we work towards that purposeful career plan, we don't have any specific data, but we do track the amount of activities and different things that our students are doing, and they are all on track for that. Goal number 4, our attendance rate for first semester was 95.2%. And then goal number 5, the technical skills assessment, that's the end of year. So we really look at that benchmark data, see where we're tracking, because those 2 things should align. We really create that district assessment for our students, and it helps measure what we'll be on that district assessment. We know we're tracking very well for that. We've had great partnership, with teachers, along with, curriculum instruction, PD, IT, everyone, team effort to be able to help work us towards those. And then our last piece, talk about some challenges and opportunities. With the delayed move-in, I talk to families all the time, they're picking up their child. They haven't had an opportunity to fully see our campus. So we're working on some family engagement opportunities. How can we do that? Bring your parent to work day, those types of things. That's one of our big challenges that we're working on this semester. And then with knowing that we were starting at the Agua Fria campus, in those temporary classrooms, we modified our curriculum a little bit, right? So we moved some things around that would be more conducive to the classroom. And now we're backloading some of that labs and some of those things. So we're still monitoring, adjusting. So that's a challenge that we're working through. It's made some changes for us, but it is something that the teachers do an amazing job. Blessed to have 4 amazing teachers that are making that work. So that's what I have. Turn it over to Central Campus next.
I have a question for you.
Absolutely.
So what is your major challenges? You mentioned some of your challenges you already addressed that you're working on. What challenges do you foresee that's gonna come up and coming that you may be addressing in the future, or something big that the board can hear right now, maybe prepare for later?
I'm not sure if there's anything specifically with the board, but I know there's a lot of things we're working for, especially as we grow, right? Being a brand new campus, how do we provide those supports and build that out? I think as we work through this, working with Dr. Spurgeon and leadership team, we're working through some things on how we can do that. Bringing in brand new teachers and building those supports. So as we grow, how do we maintain those supports? We do a great job. We have a great C&I department, PD department, do those things. So as we continue to grow, how do we maintain those supports and build those out for our staff, especially our teachers, because they're the rock that truly make a difference in student achievement.
Do you foresee some of that tremendous growth, or are you getting a gut feeling that it's gonna double, triple? What's your gut tell you?
Well, I think as we, transition with the Southeast campus being that large campus, and then as we look at adding, Peoria campuses and all those, I see pretty significant growth over these years. In 2 years, we could have upwards of 750, 800 students just at the Southeast campus by the 27-28 school year.
Yeah.
So there's big growth and big movement there.
I've heard Attica is already waitlisted. There's no spaces left. Or they were locked out, 3 or 4 weeks ago.
What impact will it have? Sheila Bend is sending a lot of their students to the Agua Fria campus. What impact does that have on the Agua Fria school district in terms of being able to utilize the facilities on their campus, well, our campus, but in their former space? Is there any conflict resolution needs to take place there?
No, we just continue to work through all those things. And that's one of our challenges, right? We always have students that are on a wait list that don't get into our programs. So how do we can do that? That growth will help in that piece to be able to do that, especially as we have the Southeast campus. That'll help alleviate, especially on the south part of that. I think that will help in that growth as we go through that. And we continue, we've had all the counselors out, we've had every student in the construction program and seen all of our trades. During their RTI time, during their class, they made availability for any student that was interested in come see one of our programs. We did that. So we've had hundreds of Agua Fria high school students come through our program as we continue to work through that with the other districts. And then we had Tolleson, La Jolla is only 2 miles away from the Career Academy as well. So continue to work on those partnerships, be able to get them out and see our program. So we're getting that right student for the right program. All right, Mr. Cabaldi is next.
Good afternoon. So for Central Campus, our goals here are going to be, we want to maintain a 93% or higher for attendance rates this year. We want to do 90% of students will pass the ADE technical skills assessment. For our high value credentials, we're looking at 91% for our students. And parent communication, teachers are intentionally making sure to find ways to communicate. And the word I want to use here is intentional. What we wanted to do this year for Central Campus is, certain these goals that we're looking at, we want to always make, what do we want to use now is intentional. We want to intentionally send this out, get with the parent, talk with the students, do whatever we need to do. We want to make sure that the teachers and staff are intentionally doing it to make sure that the student succeeds in all the goals that we're trying to do. So the progress for us in our celebrations is that our attendance rate for first semester was 95.4%. We had 68% of our students had less than 5 days absent, which is a pretty good number for, even though our attendance is a little bit struggling this year, 68% of them with 5 days or less is pretty good, especially with aviation, with 4.5 hours a day, 5 days a week, to have that many students with that many, not that many days absence is a very good goal that our teachers are pushing and staff are pushing, that we want to, that the only way you're going to learn how to do any of these trades is to be there every day. So we kind of been pushing that with all of them. Last year for AD, we had 90%, so this year our teachers are just jumping in, trying to get that. AD students testing for that, are studying for that, getting ready for that when it's time for them to take that. Our credentials earned this year already, we're at 78% for our high value, so right on track to getting that 91%. We're moving right along with that. Teachers this year with this, are sending out newsletters. We're trying to do it once a month. We're trying to keep that communication going. We did our trunk or treat again, parent coming to school day. So we're just doing all of that stuff and just trying to communicate as much as we can with students and parents to make sure they know what's going on at Central Campus. Challenges and opportunities, again, like I said, we want to be more proactive with communicating. Because no matter how much we try and how much we do communicate, everybody always says, I didn't know that was going on, this and that went on. So we're just trying to make sure that we fill all those holes and make sure that no matter what, the families are knowing what's happening at Central Campus. We want to make sure they know everything that's going on.
What are you trying to do that?
Newsletters again, trying to, just trying to have the teacher communicate with the parents more. When a student is missing 2 days, we want to make sure that, we not only do we send that call here, student missed, we want the teacher to call. Hey, we missed your student, it's been 2 days, is anything going on? Trying to get that communication more of calling up and being positive on the side of what's going on, what's happening, what can we do, more than, hey, your student missed 2 days. So that's kind of that push we're trying to do, is just make sure we're communicating better with the parents instead of, the negative side. We're trying to do the positive side of a lot of those communications.
That's good.
Challenges, we're losing 3 teachers, so we're looking at 3 new teachers next year we're gonna do. So we lost one in Northeast, one to I should say that Southeast, and actually both the South, and then the Southeast. And then one had put in for he's resigning at the end of the year. So we're gonna need a coding teacher, a welding teacher. I can't even think of the third.
It's been a long day.
Been a long day, so.
Coding teacher.
No,
It's two codes.
coding, one welding, and electrical trades, there you go. Man, I forgot about that one since we haven't started it yet. So, but we did hire the electrical trades teacher, so that one's on the move to come in when we hire in, so that one's good to go. We just need the other 2 right now, so we're getting that. Speaking of electrical trades, that challenge is we're building the shop right now. So he's probably 40% done right now, but Frank is moving right along with that. That's moving right now. So we shouldn't have any problems with starting that new in August.
So 2 of your teachers are actually relocating to another West-MEC campus.
Correct.
So we as a family are not necessarily losing them, but.
Correct. Not losing them from, we're not losing them closer.
Is it closer to home or something?
One is moving from coding to AI. And then a welding teacher to go to a new campus and start a new programs. Any questions?
Can we give an update on the Pearl Harbor?
Yeah, Pearl Harbor, they just finished general, the students finished general. We're looking at moving into airframe. We're waiting for the feds right now to do an inspection. We had to change one of the locations, so we're just waiting for that inspection to get done, and then we'll move into the airframe side of that, start airframe. So that's moving pretty good.
This is the thing at Hawaii?
Yes, in Hawaii, yeah. All right, Northeast.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Update you on the Northeast campus. I get the opportunity every day. I'm truly blessed to work with the best people at the Northeast campus. So let me take the opportunity to share with you all of their hard work. So you'll notice our campus goals, the first 3 you're very familiar with. They are aligned to our district goals, so I won't get into too much detail. But specific to the Northeast campus are the bottom 3. So our next goal is really focused on the professional skills rubric, which I know you're familiar with, and we use it on all of our campuses, but we wanted to get systematic this year in regards to how we actually explicitly teach the professional skills to our students, and then truly assess them and give them that feedback. So we came up with a system for that. Our next goal was our campus touch points. I think you've heard from the other 2 campuses as well, just trying to increase that parent involvement, finding ways to bring parents to campus to engage with their students in what it is that they're learning.
And also provide more feedback to students to parents in regards to how the students are progressing through the program. That came up on our parent survey. There were multiple comments about how they appreciated all of the communication in regards to events, absences, things of that nature, but they really wanted to hear, are they on track to earn their credential? How are they scoring on their assessments? They really wanted specific feedback. So that was another goal of ours. And then the last goal there is just really keeping that strong instructional focus, making sure that every classroom has a know, understand, and be able to do objective to set the tone for the lesson and clear expectations, and then giving feedback with some effective grading. So those are our campus specific goals. To update you on our progress in regards to our district goals, we did, for career literacy, we did meet with 100% of our completers again this year. We did those one-on-one student conferences. We did those in August and September. Yeah. 100%. Yep. It does take quite a bit of time, but we found about 6 students that were completely lost. Even with being in a West-MEC program, they were still very unsure of what their next step was after West-MEC. And then we had about 12 that still were on the fence, had multiple options, but were just unsure. So being able to give that information to our career coaches, to our counselors, so that they could follow up and we could follow up and support those students. So it is a valuable use of the time. For credentials, we're currently this year at 58% of our current students earning a high value credential. So we will be on track to meet the district goal there. For student achievement, I've got some district winner benchmark assessment there for you. The average score was a 65%, and in technical content, we averaged a 63%. What I didn't add to this slide was that 32% of our students have already passed the test with 70% or higher in technical content. That's actually, it sounds great. We're actually a little bit lower than where we were last year. But we did add new programs. Obviously, it's a new set of students, so there's some variables there. But I'm confident we've got excellent teachers. I'm confident that we'll meet that goal. For the professional skills initiative that I talked about, what we decided to do this year to explicitly teach the skills was we developed a quarterly focus on each of the skills. So quarter 1 was communication, quarter 2 teamwork, and you can see sort of the plan there laid out. And what we did was we broke up each quarter and we developed lessons, and we modeled those lessons for the teachers so that they could go back to their classrooms and deliver the lessons to the teachers, or to the students, I'm sorry. And then we discussed with staff, how are you going to practice this skill all quarter long with your students, embed it in lab, in classroom conversations, and then talked about assessing them and putting it as a grade in the grade book. So quarter 1 and quarter 2, we were able to get 12 out of our 15 teachers to enter that grade in the grade book, go beyond just having a conversation and truly giving students, this is where you're scoring.
So were the teachers excited about this?
Yes.
Because it pulls it all together.
Yes, they've liked the focus because I think we've done an excellent job here going through all 4 of the skills. And it's not to say that we don't talk about teamwork, because quarter 1 is communication, but to have that united, we're all united to working on one specific skill, and we're gonna coach them on it and share ideas with each other has been nice to see, and they have that collaboration. Yeah. And then our instructional focus, we're up actually close to 100 learning walks right now between Mr. Paduano and I, going into classrooms and giving instructional feedback to our teachers. We've done a feedback PD for our teachers. We've analyzed gradebook with them, and we do have a strong objective in 100% of our classrooms. So making excellent progress. If I had to pick a challenge or an opportunity, I know a few other campuses have also mentioned communication. With our focus on increasing the number of parent events that we've had, and really giving that explicit direct feedback to parents on how their student is progressing. I think our teachers have moved so strongly towards that goal that the bringing parents on campus and the events have dropped just a little bit. So although we want to increase communication to parents and updating them on how their students are doing, we don't want to lose sight of bringing them into campus. So our MA team, our vet team, welding, auto, they have hosted parent parent events on campus. So second semester here, we really need to focus with our teachers on bringing parents in for those events. But you can see an example here on the screen of our teachers have made a commitment to come up with a way to give that feedback to parents, even if their goal might be just to pick 2 to 3 students a month, where they're gonna just email home and say, this is how your student's doing with their professional skills, here's how they are doing with their technical skills. 3 students a month, you add that up and it goes a long way, so. What questions do you have about Northeast? The clean room will be operational soon. They'll be working through the weekend. I think in the next couple of weeks, we should have that finished. And our trainers for the EV lab were just installed this week as well. So we're getting the 2 instructors in auto tech some training so that they can start to use that equipment.
That question on the parent outreach, you do a recap of what the program is and what the market looks like for that industry?
For the parents.
Yeah.
I think you might see a little bit of that in the newsletters that go out. We have a Northeast Campus newsletter that we send to parents with 3 things you need to know each month. And very often we'll pull some trends and we'll put that in there for parents. But I can't say that we hit every single program, but that's a great idea.
Or for the specific student, so that the parent understands what their student's going through. Most parents have no idea or limited idea of what these industries are doing and what the purpose of the industry's future. For instance, semiconductor, if you've never been in that frame, you have an idea it's a chip, but it's more than a chip. It's a lot more, and to kind of help them understand the future of that pathway.
Right.
Including law enforcement, including civil engineering, mechanical, avionics.
We've had success with that is the auto tech night where industry is there and they get the opportunity to speak to parents. I think modeling some of our parent events off of that, I think would be a successful model that hopefully we can make happen a little bit more frequently.
You used to use career trees, do you still have those?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. They go through the lessons with those and those are talked about at parent nights as well.
Very good, thank you.
Do the campuses share what works and what doesn't work in terms of parent outreach, like what sorts of events and communications?
Yeah, absolutely. In all of our meetings, we collaborate regularly and I just leaned over to Dr. Parsons and I said, it's interesting, how many, we've got a lot, you'll see a lot of similarities here. So it's because we do work on the same things and collaborate. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Medina.
So, all right. Thank you, Holly Medina. I am at Northwest Campus. I am excited to say we're in our 9th year. It's hard to believe that it's been 9 years that Northwest has been up and going. So it's very exciting. So a little bit different format that I have up here, kind of doing areas of focus. And I kind of call these our lead factors because everything that we do throughout the year works up to all meeting our metrics and our goals at the end of the year. We have a leadership team that meets in the summer and meets monthly to discuss what the campus needs are. And we look at all the data, areas that need to be an area of focus, as well as who is going to present and provide those trainings. So we do that internally. So this year we're looking at our areas of focus as looking at those professional skills, and we kind of broke them down into complex communication, collaboration, thinking, and professionalism. Parent involvement across the board with all of us. I mean, we're always trying to increase that. And then grading is another one. We are really kind of looking at, are we looking at the skill attainment versus I completed this, or do I really know, completed it in compliance, or do I really know the skill? And showing that in a grade so parents understand they've are well trained in this skill, not they just finished a project, that type of thing. And collaboration is a big thing. Collaboration across a lot of our programs and understanding other programs makes everybody stronger teachers, as well as understanding questions when they get them out into the community about other programs. They're very knowledgeable about that. And our students are our best advocates. If they know what other programs do on our campus, they're our best word out there when they're talking to fellow students at their own schools.
For you, can you give me an example of a complex communication?
Complex communication is a lot of times like when they're talking, can be the aspect of customer service. So is the student able to a medical program. So you were able to have communication with those with your patient that is coming in to understand that this is what I'm doing, these are the procedures that I'm going through, making them feel comfortable answering their questions, but not going out of their scope of practice. So,
Multifaceted components too.
yes, yeah. And a little bit in that world for the fact we're trying to get students out of their cell phones and
Yeah.
talking face to face it's a harder skill.
Yeah.
Very hard skill.
Watch some of the AI.
Yes, yes. And I'll be talking about that in just a minute, yes. So goal progress and celebration. So every staff meeting, we're incorporating some best practices by our leadership team. So we get teachers up there, we get counselors up there that addressed all of our different areas. So in August, we did parent engagement. What's the best practice that different programs or instructors are using for parent engagement? September is professional skills and collaboration. October, grading with rubrics. How do you use your rubrics for that skill attainment? And December was all the review strategies, preparing them for benchmark assessments and those types of things. Each program is incorporating some type of a parent day or parent activities. We're getting through those at random times throughout the year and well engaged. Campus collaborations, this is an example, is our physical therapy students worked with cosmetology on proper ergonomic plans. So when cosmetologists are on their feet for 10, 12 hours, are they properly standing? Are they properly using their body mechanics to get through that workday so they're not, their hands aren't arthritic, within 2 years, or, they're hunched over when they're trying to do some types of things. Physical therapy students use their knowledge to put a plan together, so the cosmetology students have a longer lifespan in their career.
That's awesome. That's great.
Life skills rotations we did this year, we've done them the past couple of years, but this year we did a focus to where every single program on our campus hosted, and we did this every Tuesday in October, a life skill that's specific to the program. For example, auto taught the skill to every other student to come in and teach them how do you prepare your car for a road trip? If you're driving to California, do you know how to check the fluids, check the tire pressures, all those types of things? So they gave him a checklist and trained him how to check your vehicle before going on a trip. So every program had a specific life skill that they trained everybody else, which gave them knowledge about everybody else's program, which goes back out into the community. So that was some of our collaborations. And then grading that shows skill attainment. We're looking at grade books monthly and having discussions and pulse meetings with our instructors of how are you showing that they've attained, where are they within the skill attainment in the grade book, as well as parents being able to understand they're receiving those skills. Here it is, challenges and opportunities. I put artificial intelligence. This is a big beast. And right now it's really being thrown at us very quickly. And one of it is the opportunities of being able to use MetaCoach is in those programs to have that customer service interaction. That's part of the artificial intelligence. But the challenge is on artificial intelligence is sometimes using it properly. We're finding some of our students, that's the first thing that they are going to, rather than using their skills first on problem solving and conquering it themselves. They want to go automatically to artificial intelligence to get the answer rather than them processing. So we need to find a balance. We need to train teachers, we need to train students the proper ways, and I feel like it's a fire hose right now.
It is, it's
And
brand
it's
new.
understanding it and using it properly, so that's the big opportunity. How do we use it properly? Because it's also changing the job market. So how are we addressing the changes in the skills that our students need to have, because AI is now getting into every single job market that we're preparing our students for. So how do we do that? So that's my job.
Does that
Yeah.
lend itself to setting up scenarios to put your students through that require them to not utilize the tools that we're making available to them, but to rely on the skills that they've already learned?
Yes.
That's something that you're looking at?
You know where one of our challenges I found this year is one of our programs is having to change some of the testing procedures because students are finding backdoors to get into AI to answer a question. So it's kind of scary to the fact that we're almost having to look at, okay, we're going back to pencil. So if you don't have access to AI, it's truly your knowledge.
Yeah.
So.
Pull the plug, there's no
Pull
power.
the plug, that's right.
There's no power now.
Because what happens if, you don't have internet access and those types of things? So, yeah, it's the balance with artificial intelligence. What is it? So this is a big piece that we're having a challenge.
I was gonna say, people are also using it on phone interviews to answer questions, they're reading
Oh,
their,
yes.
it's just. It's almost now the instant cheat, so how can we?
Well, plus you don't know if what you're reading is true.
And you can send an avatar for a Zoom meeting and have them report back to you. It's like, why using it as a tool? So can we use it properly as a tool? Not as our first thing that we're going to, and understanding is the information that is providing is really correct. I mean, I'm even seeing a lot of before we're sending emails back to parents and stuff like that, are we sending it through chat, changing the tone on it and that type of thing. So it's there, it's getting interweaved. So how do we balance that world?
So I've been struggle with AI for the last 20 years is that we're teaching people to become buttonologists as opposed to actually analyzing data.
Yeah.
And I just know which buttons to push and I don't know why it's telling me this, but this is what it's telling me.
Yeah. Does it for you
That's-
instead of figuring it out.
Yeah, that's
So
that's the wrong utilization of AI, in my opinion.
Great.
There's another challenge for you guys.
Sorry.
Striking that right balance, between the use of AI and practical skills and thinking.
It's a lot to learn and it's fast paced, keeps
Yeah.
changing and changing and changing. So. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Dr. Parsons.
Thank you. Dr. Spurgeon, governing board, thank you. I went with a minimalistic approach. Troy, Mr. Gabalden did challenge me to walk up and say ditto and try and back out. And I figure you've heard us all talk about the same goals because we do collaborate, we do talk quite a bit. And we make sure that our students are trying to have the same experience when they come through us. As well, Dr. Spurgeon a few years ago kind of aligned the primary goals that we're all operating with, and it makes things very simple for us. So the campus specific goals that we're looking at for this year at Southwest Campus is parent satisfaction. One of the things that we saw whenever we looked at the data is no matter how often we reach out to the parents, we haven't meaningfully moved that parent satisfaction button. And myself as a long-term CTE teacher, I've always had the idea that we're an elective. If we don't convince our parents and our students that in our business and industry that they're receiving value from us, we don't get people to take our courses and then we're all looking for another job. So parent satisfaction to me, along with industry satisfaction and student satisfaction, is super important. And how do we make that adjustment meaningfully? Attendance, the KUD, which is the know, understand, do, we kind of undersold that one, I think. But one of the things we're doing there is we're really aligning as a district on how we communicate our learning to our students. And we kind of each had our own method depending on where we came up and what district we came from. So this is pretty meaningful that we're all trying to align what it means to be a CTE student, how we communicate that learning that's about to happen to the students every day. So it's kind of a cultural shift that we're facing. The other one is cultural and onboarding. Unfortunately, several of my teachers and staff members either retired or found advancement opportunities at district office, other campuses and whatnot. So I onboarded about 10 people this year at my campus. So we really had to step back and say, what is our onboarding process? And how do we ensure that the Southwest campus culture continues and we integrate them into it? So where are we at in campus celebrations? With our parent satisfaction, the challenge that we keep talking about is how do we increase the events with the parents, and not only increase the events with the parents, but make them feel like it's a meaningful impact that when they come to us and see us. It's not just we visited the campus and it was okay, or hey, I got called into the principal's office again, whatever that might look like. Several of you have been aware of or heard of the trunk or treat that we do. This year we had just about 5,000 people that attended.
So one of the things for me is when we look at, we have 5,000 people and the community is obviously waiting to come into the events that we're hosting on our campus, whether it be a tour, whether it be that or the compassion clinic that's about to be coming up. We know they're having good experiences on our campus and we know that they're engaged with us. Why aren't they leaving with a good feel, or why aren't they leaving with like a, wow, I really can't wait to come back to the campus? Because we're seeing it, but how do we make that stick? So what we're trying to talk about at the campus is making sure that when they come there, we get a little bit of feedback and we talk to the families and make sure that they feel seen while they're there as well. Other thing is attendance and grade book alignment. So Ms. Medina already kind of talked to the grade book and whether or not we're grading for rigor or compliance. And there's an argument for both. Showing up to work is compliance, but it's a skill set that I absolutely want. I want my employees to be at work on time. Right? And it's an easy thing to say. And if somebody does that, check, they did it. So that's what we would call like compliance grading, right? So there is a reason, a method for that when we grade. We also want to know, did they do the function well? And that's called rigor. So we try and mix those two. One of the things we did is we looked at whether or not attendance and grading were tied together. And how can we tie some of those compliance grades to our attendance rates to make sure that when our students are there, they're receiving credit for being there, not just for doing the compliance check or the rigor check. And this is where we had to take that lesson from AI, because one of our lessons, we realized that if we were about to do what we did, our students would go home and ChatGPT, Grok, whatever, OpenAI, and they would spit it out and it wasn't going to be a thing. So we went right back to the pen and paper. And so they have to handwrite stuff to us. Really get them. And we talk about this regularly in our Pulse and MTSS meetings. So we regularly meet. I feel like I'm just meeting with my teachers or the staff at the Southwest campus constantly to measure, like, what are we doing? What have we graded the students on? Does that grade book reflect what you're actually trying, what you hold important in the class? How are your students reacting to that? What does your data say? What is the status of your learners in the class? Do we have any students that need help? Is somebody falling behind? What kind of supports can we put into place for that student to make sure that they stay level with us? So we meet constantly to talk about where are our students at and where can we do to help them get along? Because we're operating at the 90% level as a district, and I am not going to be the site that falls behind that number. KUD, intentional training. This one, for me, this was a hard learning curve for me because KUDs is not where I came from. So for me to step in and say that there's a different way to explain how we're about to start our learning day with students, it took a little bit for me to be convinced, but we're trying to move through that. We have about 30% of our teachers in a cohort that are sampling it and testing what they're doing and what the best practice for how to do that is. And from my perspective, when that student first sits down in the class and they start understanding, because what they want to know, and if you've ever been in the classroom, one of the first questions the student has is, what are we doing today? Miss, what are we doing today? Sir, what are we doing today? They want to know, what are we doing today? And that's especially true in a West-MEC class. So being able to understand how do we communicate that and hook that student right from the beginning so that they stick with it all the way to the end. And then at the end, validate that they learned it, and the next day, ensuring that they're ready to go to the next one. That was an important shift. Culturally and onboarding, how do you make people feel part of the culture and feel invested in what they're doing? So we took some time and looked at what is onboarding and what is that experience teachers that came in and for the staff members. What does it look like? We attached them each to an individual mentor on the campus so that somebody that they could go to when they say, I really don't, I think I'm good, but I don't know what's coming next. Or I think I did this right. I'm not really sure. Am I covering all the scope of my duties? Somebody that they could connect with, a peer that would just kind of like, whenever they were about to check off the next thing on their box because they're a continuing teacher and they know everything that they're doing, they would stop and say, hey, I need to go talk to the new electrical teacher because I don't know if he knows that this is about to come. I think that's pretty important and helps people feel connected. Staffs and student celebrations
rewarding people for what they're doing and acknowledging it. You know, even the little things to say like, hey, you said that right. That was really good. Gives them that sense of efficacy and makes them feel like I can do this job. I know that a lot of people, when they exit industry and they're in their first year of CTE, they're always kind of sitting there going like, did I do the right thing? Do I really like, I was great at what I used to do, but I'm not really sure I just educated that kid. So giving them that confidence that you are doing the right thing, you are learning and you're moving forward. Another one, digital displays, so we could explain and show what we're doing. It's pretty cool. Next time you're on campus, take a look at some of our digital displays. They're neat. In collaborations. Ms. Medina also talked about it. I've been a long time, even when I was in the classroom, I thought that one of the things that we did not do service to was we always taught in a silo. So in my experience, business and industry, I had IT people I worked with, I had marketing people I worked with, I was in the engineering department, I had manufacturing people I worked with. I worked with people from all sorts of scopes of thing. I challenged my staff to connect with their students with every other class and finding meaningful way to have an assignment launch off. So Holly Medina already gave you some examples, and we do many of the same things and try and tie it in there. And I find that the more that we do this, if you walk around and ask my kids, they call it the collabs, which I think is kind of a funny way to say it, but they're like, you know, in our recent survey, they were like, what would you like, what could we do more of? And they're like, the collabs, we want more collabs, we want the collabs. And it's like, I don't know what exactly is happening with the collabs and why they're so excited about it, but they are. Opportunities. We are still trying to find the magic of making sure that people feel seen and heard. And that's kind of what we want, because we want to meaningfully move that. So we're exploring some stuff, you know, just that personalized connection, that handshake, that making people, you know, spending some time with people. We're really leaning into our ambassador program and how having our kids function some of that. And we're hoping it yields results, but I'm still listing it as an opportunity because we're trying. Other ones is we're leaning into data analysis to lean into backward design. We have a lot of people, they don't understand what it means to teach. And helping them understand how to utilize data, even the anecdotal data of like, I look across my classroom and I see this happening. How do you translate that into whether or not somebody is learning and what do I do about it? Or if you take data and you collect it, whether that be financial data or grade data or progression data, how do you take that data and make a meaningful move from that? So we're having a lot of conversations with our staff in our pulse meetings and our staff meetings and whatnot about what does the data we collect look like and what can we do about it? With that, questions?
I do have a question. When you currently test right now, how do you test?
We assess in a whole slew of different ways. So a test could be a written piece of paper. Well, one of the things that we like.
Been done that way?
No.
Okay.
So sometimes it's a written piece of paper where it's a multiple choice, short answer, essay, etc. But a lot of our teachers lean into what's called a PBA or a project-based analysis where they do something and they're using a rubric to assess that. Sometimes the students themselves will write the rubric or utilize the rubric to peer evaluate. So like a peer will watch and see what they're doing. So it depends on the skill set that you're trying to do. If it's giving a shot, I can't do that as a multiple choice test. You have to give the shot.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering if it's gonna take extra work to, you know, grade the papers.
It does.
Yeah, how much extra?
I have not measured that. I would say, you know, we don't do PBAs for every single skill, or we might select a portion of the PBA that we're looking at to measure and grade at that point in time. So if I think of like MA rooming a patient, they might spiral that or practice that skill over and over again and add a new element to it. So maybe today we're taking vitals. And all I'm looking at is you're doing 6 steps, but I'm just looking at, did you get the correct heart rate? Did you put the cuff on the correct way? And the next time I do it, maybe I'm looking at, did you measure or take the height the correct way? So I might take a global, like, did everything look correct, but did you do this one very specific thing well? So there's ways to tighten that up and make it efficient, but it is, a PBA is more challenging to grade.
And collabs is really interesting too, because when my granddaughter took one of the classes, Northwest, and she loved that.
Yeah.
They shared the other stuff. They just, I don't know if they're just interested in what that is, or, you know, part of it.
I think that's the magic of it, because they are just interested. They want to learn these little other things. They want to know who else is on campus and see, you know, because they're curious about what they're doing and they see them at their labs. But I think the magic of it is a lot of times we're teaching them, when we talk about how we're teaching them a new language, the language of the industry they're in. But they need to understand how to translate that language to somebody who doesn't speak it. And that's a different skill set. So when we do those collabs, what we're doing is we're teaching them how to do that.
Yeah,
And
it's good.
that'll give mileage later.
That's one of those soft skills that they will learn.
As a result of, and prepare them for the industry, because
Correct.
now I can. I know what I know, but I need to explain what I know to somebody who doesn't understand
And
it
it
at all.
beats the AI.
It does.
Makes them think on their feet.
Could you demystify the credentials a little bit for me? Specifically, I just see like 54%. We have 2-year programs. How many of our, and I think about like the FAA aviation program, they have to be 18 to sit. So how can we count a student that first year as eligible for a credential? Because that kind of almost works against you. And then ASE has 14 credentials. If they get 5 the first year, does that count in the second year towards those numbers?
So I need to back up in the question a little bit. We have several types of credentials that we're looking at. We're looking at preferred, just any credential that is serviceable in there.
That we see
The high value.
54%.
Some of them are progressive, meaning like you must have, you know, power plant before you can get your AMP. You know, so depending on what you're doing, you might have credentials. We have other credentials like pharmacy or the RMA where you have to achieve certain things, go through an externship, turn 18, etc., before you can even sit for the credentials. So I'm always hesitant to talk about like what the percentage is, because
Well, see, and that's why as a board member, I'm sitting here, 54% is misleading. And how much of that is second year students? I should have a high percentage. Like you said, pharmacy, they can't until they're gone.
Right.
So it's really. I'd love to have a deeper conversation, because I really feel like we're putting a number out there. But then my next question is, we talk a lot about attendance, and I heard 5 days, 68%. How does that affect our credentials? Does that mean if you've missed 5 days, your likelihood of, because we're tracking that for something. As a board member, help me understand why that's important.
well, we're tracking so there's a couple questions you're asking there. If we're looking at credentials, yes, we're reporting our credentials all the time, because if we don't pay attention to it, then we're never going to hit our market. So we're trying to pay attention to whether or not our students are achieving credentials all the time. Some of those credentials are higher value and towards the end, and we have to get our students progressively to that layer to be able to do that. When we report the data, we're collecting that data frequently. Attendance ties into ADM and funding as well, so we're paying attention to that. Other programs like our air program or our aviation program are hours-based programs, and their hours do count. So we work some bonus hours into there, and we have recovery methods for some of the students. I might lean into some of our principals who have those programs to talk about it. They're specific, aviation specifically. However, a student can get themselves to a point where it's not recoverable. Now, we make a lot of effort to connect with that student, talk with that student before that would ever be a thing, but a student can make themselves ineligible through attendance.
So if it's a 2-year program and they earned 5 credentials the first year, and it's now year 2, are those credentials in year 2 as the number for this year?
Yeah, so we track those. Great question, Mr. Straka. So the number you saw, we track it by cohort. So the number you saw, 54% of completers, those completers this year's, the students that will finish this year. So they could be in a second year of a program. So they could have, it's not likely, but they could have earned a high value credential in their first year of the program. Now they're in their second year, or they're in a 1-year program. So we track it by total credentials earned for all students. And then we track that percentage of the high value by their cohort as completers, so that we can track that group, because some happens even after they leave us. So that we track it even the year after they leave us for some that happen once they're gone from the program.
So two things, Mr. Streckle, real quick to clarify this, like for my goal for the high value credential, you'll be looking at the previous year's cohort. Because they have X number of days after they graduate to be able to complete that high value. So it's two separate groups of kids. So my goal is built on, the state gives you so many, it's like 180 days. Because for the kids that have to turn 18 before they can take the test. So that's my set of kids for mine. What they're telling you is based on my goal of the students that will complete this year, 54% of those students that will count towards my next evaluation. The cohort of 26, that 58% of those kids have already achieved that.
So then we're not counting any first year kids. If they're in a 2-year program, that 54% does not represent anybody that would graduate in 27.
That is correct.
Okay, I never understood that. So that totally changes the way.
And what they're saying now is it's such an important thing because it's a goal, number one, but number two, it's such an important factor that it's built all the way down to the teachers' 301 plans for us to track that high value credential. In some programs, some students are at a point where they can actually complete that even earlier. They wouldn't count, this year's kids wouldn't count till my next year's evaluation on that single goal.
Then my next question is like something like automotive. There's 14. Do we teach all 14? And then I look at something like, I think there's one for air conditioning. Well, I'm not really sure they can get a job just working on air conditioning. It's a high value. So yes, they would meet the criteria. How do we, when we start to look at those numbers, how do we measure to make sure, yeah, they got high value credentials, but they got enough to really be employed?
It's determined by business and industry. Jared could probably talk more, but business and industry will determine what that high value credential is.
And then ASCs and auto is a great example. What we do is we prioritize so that down to the teacher level goals, for example, you see the total number of ASC credentials that the students earn. So, and we prioritize those key ones that are gonna be the most impactful for the student to go out in the industry. These are like the most essential. It's very similar to IT security program where there's multiple credentials. So we prioritize, hey, here's kind of the milestone credentials, if you will, that we're gonna prioritize first, and then those additional ones. Down the teacher level, when they set their teacher level goal for 301, for auto, each program is unique. For auto, it's not just one ASC credential because we know there's multiple. So it's students, their goal is based around students earning 5 or more ASC credentials because we know there's those essentials that they need to earn. So every single one of our programs, certifications are a little different. So that's why all of their goals are different down to the teacher level, even within their programs. And so, and we track it all, and we have a credential dashboard I'm going to talk about in our next presentation relative to goals that were to help us, because it's a lot of data to sift through. And so we're continuing to find tools to
And then to just see the 54% is not very clear to me, and you can understand why.
I can, yes.
If you see it as two different groups, it makes more
Right,
sense.
and see, that was my question, is like, hey, the first year kids, they don't really count. And if they're in that number, then you're artificially lowered the number, and that's not fair to the teacher.
So we track it all.
Any other questions? About Southwest Campus? So with that,
Yeah, I want to clarify for the A and P, you can sit and test for your A and P under the age of 18. So you can take general air from Empire Plant, go do your oral practicals, complete everything, but the feds will not send you your A and P certificate to your 18. But you can test and get all of it prior to that.
Do anything with it.
Thank you, guys.
Have it done.
Thanks.
Because I've always done it with every different band, just as a progress report per semester to kind of see what's happening. What's going on, kind of keep things moving.
Yeah, it's good. Thank you. All right, and moving on to update on employee benefits plan for 2025-2026. Miss Kathy Mays and Brian.
Good evening, Chairman Ramirez, members of the governing board. At your request, You asked us to provide you with an update to see how our self-insured or our move to self-insured this year is running. So we have a little bit of information for you and we'd be happy to answer any questions for you. As you know, we moved to self-insured this year as a hopeful financial savings overall for the district. So it's always a little daunting your first year because you don't have that track record behind you to see, you know, how your claims are running. Are you putting in enough money to the plan based on the plans that you're offering employees? So of course, Ryan and I monitor this information extremely closely every month so we could see how our claims are running. So the first slide that we put up here for you is our large claims by claimant. And what this, I know it's a funky looking bar because it's a huge thick bar with one person, which is probably a good thing because what Valley Schools tracks for us is any large claim that's over $100,000. Because we're self-insured and we're paying that $100,000, as you can imagine, if we had a whole bunch of large cost claims that would hit into that pot of money very, very hard and we would be out of money pretty quickly. So we do currently have one claim that is over $100,000, as you can see on this slide. It's about $152,000. But if you remember, we do have a $125,000 stop loss policy with Valley Schools. And what that means is any claim over $125,000, we get a refund that we can put back into our pot. We pay for this as kind of like gap insurance, and we pay for that as part of our administrative costs through Valley Schools. So as I said before, we had the one large claim, but we did get approximately $27,000 that was returned to the reserves. Okay.
And this is a current claim, so if something happens with that employee, that will continue to rise. That is current year, and so we'll pay claims on that claimant all year long. So right now, expected returns of $27,000, but if they continue to have to go see doctors or provide treatment, we will get anything reimbursed to us above that $125,000 mark.
So it's a school year from July until June.
Questions about that? The next slide, we thought we'd give you a summary of all of our plans and how they are run. So the way we like to think about this as for every dollar that we put in contribution wise, how much of that dollar do we spend toward our claims? Okay, that's probably the simplest way to look at it. So we track this month by month. And this is a summary report, but we get more detailed report that we just didn't provide to you today. So if you look at this, as you can see, the blue, which is our premium equivalent, that's the amount of money that we've contributed to our reserves. And the red are the claims and expenses that we've paid. So what we're glad to be able to present to you this evening is that our contributions in the blue are bigger than our claims as expenses. And that's what we want, right? We want to make sure that, that we are being able to save some of that premium money in the long run in our reserves, so that just in case we had to, we had a large claim or health costs went way up, at least we have some reserves there that we can navigate some of those changes. So we are running pretty well. We have 3 health plans that we monitor. We look at our high deductible plan. We look at our what we call PPO, which is our mid-range plan. And if you remember, we still kept the Cadillac plan, which we call the EPO. That one is running a little bit high. So we are going to continue to monitor that as well. So on February 3rd, we're gonna have a renewal meeting or a renewal conversation with Valley Schools. So they'll give us an idea what they are forecasting for next year based on our experience for this year. And then in March, they will be available to come to the board if you all would like some more specific information on how the plans are running. So,
I have a question on the first slide, the previous slide. Is that amount, is that what was charged, or is that the amount that we paid after the charges were adjusted down?
That was what was paid out on the claim.
So they've gone through the process, they've gone through billing with the doctor and then approval through the insurance. That is everything that's been paid out to date.
Okay. Okay. Because typically health insurance, they'll charge providers will charge a certain amount, but then they'll get adjusted down.
Yeah, yeah, we'll have an agreed upon amount, you know, based on if they're in network doctors, you know, they may charge this, but then it gets adjusted down to a certain amount. So that amount is after adjustments.
Okay. Thanks.
So Ryan, your experience as a first year self-funded, you think we're doing pretty well?
Oh, we're doing extremely well. So I came from a district that was self-funded, so this is my 6th year of self-funding. 75% is running extremely well. I think a lot of it has to do with the number of belly buttons we have on the plan. So we're offering family coverage, and a lot of those family members are children, which don't typically have a lot of high claims. And so that helps us run very well as a district.
It's nice that you got that experience and background.
Could we, or could you make available the 3 different plans? And then the other thing I'd like to see is the breakdown of how are the employees doing? How is the spouse doing? How is the children doing on premium? Because I think that's really it. It's like the children don't cost a lot. The other thing I'd like us to consider is, do we have employees over 65 that we could supplement their Medicare? Are they more expensive where we could transition them to Medicare, pay for their Medicare as opposed to a West-MEC plan and save money? Are we allowed to do that? Or retirees take the state plan and pay that supplement just as a way to reduce costs, and we can isolate those?
I think we can bring both of those options to our renewal meeting in February, and we'll have Valley Schools as well as our underwriter Brown and Brown there, and they will be able to answer those questions better than I think we can off the cuff it, and we can bring it back to the board with what the recommendations are.
In fact, I would encourage you to attend that meeting if you're available. Probably good to have you there to ask questions if you'd like.
If you put it on my personal email. Then the other thing I was gonna ask, my neighbor works for United Healthcare, and I think I sent you an email on this. In September, they have noticed a ramp up of claims. And what they found was doctors are now using AI to put everything in the bill that previously doctors hadn't put. So they've seen, usually that transitions over a long time and they're able to adjust rates. They have not been able to adjust rates quick enough because of how quickly it has ramped up. Have we seen any of that? Have they talked about that at all?
They did talk about that at the conference that we were at. And we did bring that up, and they were honest. That's what doctors do because they want to make more money. But they do monitor that supposedly. They do monitor that, and so they are able to, they have enough information, so if they see those spike in claims, they can actually go to those claims or go to that provider or that pharmacy or that clinic or whatever and say, hey, you know, what's going on with this? This is way out of line, so.
But if they're, because they're claiming it's legitimate claims, it's things that they never billed for but could. So all of a sudden, it's now an expense you have to pay. And then I guess my next question would be dental and vision, how are those looking?
Dental vision is running extremely well. Yes, I want to say our loss ratio on both of those is under 55%.
If I remember correctly from the conversation that we had in that conference, United Healthcare and some of these other providers are using tools such as AI again to identify these spikes from doctors. And to Kathy's point, then looking at their claims with a fine-tooth comb. So it's not a perfect solution, but they're trying to offset the final expense, which would be to us, by using some of these tools to identify some of the doctors that may be using to inflate claims.
That's a battle of AI. Both guys are using it against each other.
Who has the best AI?
Yeah.
The other thing that is a big concern for them is just the whole weight loss medication spike. They're they're very effective, but they're also very, very popular and they're very, very expensive. And so they have shared with us that that's really driving up the cost of claims. But on the horizon, you know, there are companies are talking about using the pill instead of the injectables. Here at West-MEC, we do limit our GLP-1 users. So hopefully that won't be as much of an issue for us personally, but they do say that that may drive up the cost of healthcare in general.
Pharmacy is part of the number we showed you on the second slide, so it's major medical and our pharmacy spend, and we're at a current loss ratio. We're paying out 75 cents for every dollar that we put into the bank, so.
Do we know, is it more pharmacy driving the expense or providers? Do we know where that's coming from?
It's medical still. I think pharmacy have a big ratio, and when we meet with them in February, they will have a forecast of what medical is gonna do, but also what pharmacy is gonna do. And so they're talking about the GLP-1s, they're talking about gene therapy, which is extremely expensive, and how they want to handle that with self-insured plans. And you know, you may pay, you know, it may be $1 million for a gene therapy, but then they're cured, right? So they'll never have a claim on that for, like, say, hemophilia. You know, they can claim that they can cure that through gene therapy. So do you pay a claim on them every year for the next 10 years, or do you cure them? And then, so those conversations are still being had.
But if we cure them and then they leave West-MEC, then we don't have the savings, it's something else. I mean, I don't wanna sound. That's all my questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, good job.
All right, superintendent's mid-year goal reports. Who do we have coming up? Presenters, Jared.
Keep in mind that we don't have data for 3 of them, so we're just gonna talk about some of the things that are moving to achieve that goal.
Chairman Ramirez, members of the board, happy to come up again. Chair, I'm gonna talk about the first 3 goals, and I'm gonna go through this very quickly because, as it should be, you heard our campuses tonight, you've already heard a lot of the progress on the first 3 goals that we're gonna talk about. So I'm just gonna highlight a couple of things on each one. So the first goal, as you guys know, is the high value credentials, to some of the questions earlier. So 91% of students within 1 year program completion, as we talked about earlier. So tracking that cohort of those completers 1 year out. So we track our current cohort and give you guys those updates in real time this year. And then we continue to track those students relative to that goal, even once they leave us. So this is not a new goal, so the continued efforts, and that you heard on the campus, is all the little things that are done every single day contributing towards those credentials. I did want to highlight just one piece on this. One of the new things that we've done this year, as we talked about earlier, it's complicated in tracking the data because every program is different, every certification is different, and tracking students from cohort to cohort. And so we have created a dashboard in Tableau. Tableau is a new data software that we have available now to create real-time interactive dashboards to be able to pull some of this data in and make some real-time decisions. So we're rolling that out. Actually, this month in January, our campus administrators have already been approving, monitoring the drafts of that dashboard. But we will now have access in real time, so administrators and teachers can see down to that program level, our auto program, to use an example we talked about earlier, and they can see, you know, exactly that cohort of students, what exact credentials are they earning, and really dig into that data in real time at a dashboard versus more static reports that they would have earlier. So our goal with doing that is to really make the data more accessible, and we can make decisions and improvements in real time with that data. So, but we're progressing very well. We're confident that we will achieve that goal. With our students, we're above pace from year to year.
Can you talk a little bit about the multilingual credential real quick, just so they're aware?
Oh, yes, sorry, thank you, Dr. Spurgeon. That's the other piece I wanted to highlight it was brand new. So I'm gonna, I don't know how to back up a slide now.
Backspace.
There we go. Yeah, that very first one at the beginning, we piloted last year a multilingual credential. So this is not program specific. This is for any students to be able in any of our programs, Spanish speakers that are able to perform, that they can speak that second language, and to actually earn a tangible credential that can then be taken and even put on their transcript at their home high school to actually get a seal of biliteracy. So we did a pilot last year that was very successful with a group of students. And this year we've expanded that. So we have 8 different healthcare and trades programs that we have 168 students this year now will take that assessment or on being prepared to take that credential this year. So it's just a great notch, a great industry driver for them. And, you know, when they've already earned their high value credential, for example, in a medical field, but now they can also tangibly demonstrate that they're bilingual, both spoken and written. It just puts them at the top of the stack for getting those job opportunities. So that's a really cool opportunity that we'll, you know, even in this, we blew it up from the pilot last year to what we're doing now. And I think that will only grow in the future.
How many different languages?
We're focused on our Spanish speakers that we're doing right now. And we may expand that in the future, but that's what we're focused on now, which is our primary second language speakers.
I know TSMC is looking for Mandarin, and so that may be another one to put on the radar.
Yeah, absolutely. And currently, that's a great. But I'm gonna dig in to see if we have any students right now that might be a second language.
Vivi used to teach Mandarin for a while.
Yeah. Second goal, jumping to that, is the performance on our ADE technical assessments. Again, you guys heard a lot of the work that we do. So the ADE technical assessment students take at the end of their program. So we work obviously throughout the program. We don't wait till the end, but we work throughout our programs to make sure that our curriculum is aligned with those standards. And then we build our own West-MEC assessments to make sure that within the first year of a program, we're benchmarking towards that. And so those quarterly benchmarks that we do, the semester benchmarks, and then the data analysis that our CNI team does with our teachers, along with our campus administrators, is really how we drive that performance year after year, so our students can demonstrate that technical content knowledge. That's what it's all about, whether it's on our assessments, their AD assessments, or their credentials. It's being able to take that knowledge that they've gained and then demonstrate that they, on an assessment, that they have that technical knowledge. So we're progressing very well. We're confident in that goal, which is a very lofty goal. For us, 92%, the state average, as a reminder, is about 78% on those assessments. So, but we continue to hold that high bar for our students, and we're confident that we'll get there. Goal 3 is career literacy. Our students ending with leaving us with that intentional career plan. Again, you saw a lot of examples from our campus administrators of how we're progressing in that goal. And we're confident we'll be able to achieve that again this year. One thing I wanted to highlight here is we've really ramped up. We've done a lot of work with Pipeline AZ over the last year and really enhanced that tool custom to West-MEC to be a really powerful research tool for our students as they're looking at career pathways and salary information to make sure that we're being more accurate and realistic with students in that. If you guys remember, you know, that was one of the things in the first iteration of our career plans where students were a little bit unrealistic on some of their salary ranges and things like that. So these more powerful research tools we're focused on now for students to help make sure that they're being realistic about those career plans and next steps is something that we're seeing the benefits of this year as well. So progressing very well. We're confident in achieving that goal as well. And I'm going to turn it back over to Kathy.
Hello again. The superintendent's 4th goal is around our evaluation systems. We are in the process of updating our evaluations for classified hourly staff, exempt staff, and our campus administrators. We have held collaborative meetings with those 3 employee groups. They are pretty much completed with the classified hourly and the exempt evaluation tool. The campus administrators are finalizing their tool. And so our goal is to have it to Frontline, which is the vendor that we are going to use to digitize those evaluations. No more paper, pencil, bubbling in. It's gonna be all electronic. The other thing we're excited about is that employees will have access to their evaluations. And so if they leave West-MEC, they'll still be able to download or print a copy for whatever they need to use that for. So under Marilyn Babiyar's direction, she's also meeting with the counselors. They are looking at their tool, even though it wasn't part of the superintendent's goals. That is another tool that we want to make sure that we update. And so we should be on track to have them all in the system, ready for you to approve late in the spring. Because we want to put it into place for the 26-27 school year. Make sure that the evaluation tool is working, the system is all updated, and that we do the appropriate training to make sure our supervisors and our administrators are able to use it effectively. You all were very gracious to give us performance pay for the other classifications, so it was really classifications. So it was really important to us to make sure that we had an appropriate tool to evaluate our employees' performance. That
Will the employees also do the same self-evaluation at the same time?
we can put that in as part of the frontline system, a self-assessment. But right now, we're working on just making sure that we're evaluating the skills and developing the rubrics. But when they are having those conversations about their performance pay goals, that's kind of where they're having those interchanges about, how do you feel that you're doing? What are your goals for the year? That's kind of where that conversation happens.
I would just think it would be helpful as a leader for my staff to fill out the same thing I'm filling out. So when you meet, you can see, this is what I saw, this is what you saw. How are we seeing the same thing or not? So it helps bring everybody to the same page.
Well, we've had a meeting with Frontline to talk about kind of what we wanted and make sure that they'd be able to deliver. And the way the system usually works is the administrator kind of fills it out preliminary. So they fill it out ahead of time. And then the employee has an opportunity to respond. And then when they meet, they'll side by side have that information. And then it's not finalized until that conversation happens and they both agree. And then it becomes the official evaluation. So that'll be another opportunity for them to collaborate. Any questions about the evaluation tool? No. Next, under the direction of Dr. Spurgeon and Governing Board Member Garcia, we put together an employee survey that has gone out to employees. It's due back on January the 23rd. And we appreciate your input, Board Member Garcia, because one of our focuses, we know that you all have to make some very, very important decisions when it comes to our employees' livelihoods. And so having their voice and having their input is going to be critical as you all make those decisions. So we had, I think, 90 employees have already filled it out as of 230, which is good. So we've got a good response rate, and we're hoping to give you all that feedback at an upcoming board meeting.
Do individual teams see their employees' response, like everyone under Mr. Guy, not to pick on Mr. Guy, but would Mr. Guy see how his organization responded versus Mr. Cervonic? So that they could each see how their organization is doing?
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword, Board Member Strack, because we wanted it to be as anonymous as possible. And so when we sent it out, we were very strategic and said the only information we're going to capture is your classification. Because if we make it too specific, employees will be very hesitant to be truthful and honest. So we didn't want to take that away from them. So we will have their classification, but we won't have very, very specific information.
What campus they're on. Okay. I think the only difference we made was hourly, hourly. That was the only, so you can see the classification of which one had which remarks. That'll give you some indication.
In the future, it might be helpful just to at least know like the campus or the location. Cause there might be something that Southwest Campus is doing that, hey, we have a really high satisfaction here that we could bring to other campuses. But not knowing, you might just see, oh, we're at about 80%, but one campus is at 95. How do we get, the others? And so that is the only reason I bring something like that up.
If we collect the data, maybe without the classification, like harvested in two different ways, right? One with using classification and then another one just using the campus. For example.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
Alright, motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented and or amended. Do I have a motion?
I motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Okay, any
Mr. Chairman, could we pull, I just have some questions about one of the travel items.
Okay. Would you like to amend your?
You could approve everything but the item number 3 on the travel. I would be good with that.
I'll okay by motion to change. Brexit.
Okay, do we still have a second? Okay,
The item number 3 of the travel, I just have some questions about Tableau, how we select it and everything.
any additional discussion?
Well, it's on the travel, it's item number 3.
Oh. Alright, so we have a motion and a second. Call the question.
Time's been long. Yeah.
Alright, motion passes.
2 seconds.
So which ones we talking about?
And so now discussion about item number, was it 3?
Item number 3, the Tableau.
Item number 3, okay.
I'm specifically, not so much the why we're going, I'd like to understand the use case of Tableau and the cost. And the reason I bring it up is I brought it into American Express to do things. We had to have the server and it was a $200,000 proposition with 50 seats at $16.95 per seat per year, which was $75,000 a year. So it's kind of expensive. So I'm just curious how we selected it as the best case and what the use case is and what is our cost going forward with it?
Thank you, Mr. Strika, for the question. I'll have to get exact numbers. We started Tableau as a pilot last year. So we started very small with Tableau. So we started as a very small pilot last year where we only had about 5 licenses just for some of our IT staff as well as our data analysts to really dig into the system and make sure it was something that was going to work for us. This year, as we've expanded that a little bit, our total cost for Tableau, I think it's
only 10 last
yeah,
year.
it was $10,000 last year total for the year. And I think we're like $16,000, but I will get that exact number to you.
Because they gave us, as part of the $200,000, they gave us entry into their annual conference. And so that's why I'm surprised to see we're paying for that.
Yeah, so because we've kept it we tried to be very be mindful of the licenses, really the licenses that we need to use it for. We haven't done like the universal license that would include some of those other things. So our annual cost is very inexpensive relatively. And so this conference, now that we're really have dug into it, we've decided this is a tool where we see a lot of benefit for. I gave you an example of the dashboard for credentials. A couple other examples, we created a dashboard for our member districts and ADM. So we're able to use it, our SIS team is using the tool to be able to create a dashboard that our local directors have access to so that they can identify in real time if we see a drop in ADM somewhere so that we can fix that and recoup that funding. So those are just a couple examples where we see a real value to the district. But going to this conference and we were very selective of who we sent to this conference because you know, it's an expensive conference to go to. So we pushed back on the vendor and said, hey, you know, what can you do for us? And so they actually agreed. They're giving us a 40% discount on the registration cost, not free, but after we pushed back a little bit, they gave us a 40% discount in that cost for attendance. We also researched other districts. We researched, is this something that we have to get at the conference? Is there another way to get it? We could not find another way without going to the conference to get some of the learning that our staff needed. So we did a lot of research with our staff before bringing this forward, that we feel like this is the best for us to really assess how far does this go with West-MEC? How expansive do we need to make this moving forward? But we are finding tremendous value in the tool so far.
Yes, we used it. I did a proof of concept. I brought it into American Express, so I have a long history with it. We gave dashboards to our board of directors and a lot of other people, depending on what we wanted to do. It has a lot of potential. The row limit's 114 million, or at least it was when we tested it on our platform. What was the selection of Tableau over others? What did it offer and why?
Yeah, there was the research that was done with our team, and really it was done over a few years. We've explored some different tools. When Diane Parsons was here, who was no longer here, was part of that research process to research different types of tools. Our IT team has also been a part of that decision. A big part of the decision-making process was the functionality of the end user and the ability to really visualize the data. And Tableau seemed to do that really well for a lot of different users. And it was able to talk to, using my terms, to talk to all of our other systems really well. So because all this data is coming in from our student information system focus, some of it's coming from ADE, some of it's coming from multiple places. And this tool of all the others was able to really bring that into one kind of data warehouse and then translate it easily. And other products that we looked at weren't able to do that as well. Is some of the major factors they looked at.
Did you guys look at Snowflake or MicroStrategy?
I don't believe so. Or they may have looked at, I have not personally, but they may have looked.
Because MicroStrategy is a lot cheaper. They were another one we used, but okay, I just wanted to understand. And I have some examples of how it'd be helpful for the board, even the superintendent, some specific dashboards.
This was Tableau back in 2008.
If you're ever on CNBC, a lot of their visualizations will say Tableau in the corner, but they're not interactive. They're really, it's the interactive and being able to pick specific variables to do the visualization. And so if I'm a campus, I can say a specific campus and see my numbers. You can see all the campuses. And does Dr. Spurgeon have like the reader tool so he can open up the dashboard and look at it?
Yes, and right now, again, we're at stage kind of one with our growth, and really and I appreciate the feedback, because what I hear is we really need to assess what is, like, how big does this get for West-MEC? How many different users and access do we need to have? And is this the right tool to scale for us at West-MEC? But yes.
Well, if you've already invested, you don't want to invest in a second one. Oops. Amex, we buy everything, but stick with one and stick with it. Don't pay for multiple licenses, is what I would say. So you could go, this is the Cadillac of them. That's what I would say.
All right, any other discussion? No? All right. Go ahead and call the question.
Do we have a motion on that?
Oh, yeah, we need a motion.
I'm motion approved.
All right, second, call the question. He was trying to get Adam in this school.
Yeah, Mr. Striker, back, Tableau was one of the first that we worked with back even 17 years ago. They could pull multiple sets of data from in written in different languages from different platforms in data warehouse. That was one of the big things, was warehousing the data to be able to put in what variables you want to see, so you can do customizable reports down to as far down as you wanted to go.
I'll tell you what afterwards, I'll tell you what my use case is, so it's not on public record. You'd get a kick out of it.
That's what OU.
All right, motion passes. Okay, I think we're now at action discussion items. Sir. Okay, motion to approve award of contract number RFQ 260128 CMR for the South Peoria campus. Mr. Ryan French.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Spurgeon, members of the governing board. I have two action items this evening, and if you've looked at them, you will notice that they are very similar. And so we are looking for the board to approve the award of this construction manager at risk for two projects, our South Peoria project, as well as our North Peoria project. Just to tell you a little bit about the process, we had a team that was looking at timelining all of the campuses that we're looking at bringing online and what those programs look like. And realized in October and November that we needed, if we were looking to bring these two campuses online in the timeline that we were looking at, we needed to get the teams of architects and general contractors together very quickly in order to make it successful. And so what we decided to do is we decided to bring the construction manager at risk qualifications to the street, essentially is what we call it. We released it to the public in November, on November 26th. We asked them to respond to us by December 10th. Our evaluation committee consisted of 5 members, 3 district employees, an architect, as well as an independent general contractor. They reviewed the written responses from our contractors and picked the best 3 for each project to then enter into phase 2, which was an in-person interview. Those interviews happened December 18th. We invited those contractors who made it to the second round to come in to the interview and answer questions and present their methodology, what the scope of work would look like. And we picked the contractors that we felt best envisioned what we thought we were going to have for projects and partners. And that's what we're bringing to you this evening. Once approved, it's not a dollar amount at this point. All we're doing is you're allowing us to engage with the general contractor to then develop a guaranteed maximum price. This is something that you guys are used to. We actually approved one at the last board meeting for phase 2 of our Agua Fria campus. And so you'll get much more detail about the design of the buildings, the programs that are going in, and the cost, what we believe the cost of that build will be later on down the road when we have some time to engage with our architect as well as our general contractor. So for item number 1 this evening, we are looking at the South Peoria campus. I did want to let you know we had 5 contractors that responded to the bid. We whittled it down to our top 3, and through that process, we are asking the board to award the construction manager at risk project to McCarthy Building Company. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
McCarthy's done stuff for us before.
Yes, they have done stuff for us before, yes.
Who's your independent contractor?
I knew you were gonna ask me that. Beth has that information.
It was Edge Construction.
Edge?
Marshall would say.
Edge Construction, yeah.
And the architect for the South, Peoria campus will be Grace Design, the same that did the Northeast campus, advanced manufacturing and welding and ED space.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second. Sorry, you can have the next one.
Any additional discussion? No. Call the question.
Just out of curiosity, is this existing bond funds or is this new bond funds that we'll have to sell?
This would be all new bond funds. Yeah.
All right, motion passes. Thank you. Next item is a motion to approve award of contract RFQ 260228 CMAR for the North Peoria campus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Spurgeon, members of the governing board. This followed the same exact timeline. In fact, we ran these two items parallel to each other, so they were both released at the same time. I do want to, before I talk about the contractor that we're asking you to award tonight, to acknowledge the fact that a lot of employee time was put into this. My purchasing agent was able to do both of these on a parallel track. I'd like to acknowledge her publicly tonight and say that she did a very good job. I also want to acknowledge all the contractors who responded on a pretty short time frame and gave us great presentations. All of the other timelines remain the same. For the North Peoria project, we would like to award to GCON for the construction manager at risk, which allows us then to begin negotiations with them. BWS is going to be the architect on the project, so we can partner those two up and then bring a guaranteed maximum price back to the board for that project.
BWS did the IT security lab and automation and robotics space at the Southwest campus. Yeah.
McCarthy did it on this one. So I was not on the committee, but the committee through tabulations and a weighted selection of questions picked GCON as the best respondent.
Motion. Do I have a motion for?
I'll move that we approve item number 2 there as well.
I'll second it. Okay. Any additional discussion?
Just one comment. This is new bond money, so this will take us to over $600 million. I just want to point out that we have not spent a penny in Paradise Valley. They account for 25% of our bond or our tax base. Means they have put in $150 million into West-MEC, and we yet to put 1 penny back in that district. We really need to prioritize Paradise Valley.
And that's kind of, we just have to settle in on the land. So we've already met with the board. I forgot to tell you, their board came in and toured the Northeast campus, 4 of their 5 board members. And then we went down to the Career Academy and they were completely blown away. Some didn't have really any idea that West-MEC was who we are. They had this vision of having like this little box area with a few pieces of equipment. And so it was very well, just wonderful people, great conversations, and we were setting up a meeting with their CFO to start the process of getting an appraisal on that 8 acres right behind Vista Verde Middle School. And that's, if we can make it happen, that's where it's gonna happen, right there.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, Straka, point well taken. To Dr. Spurgeon's point, Sherry and I are working with their CFO currently to find times that work on everybody's calendar to make that happen.
I just like to, Dr. Spurgeon knows, I like to remind everybody, they've put in a lot. They've been.
There's been some delays for reasons for us. We were moving in that direction a little faster, but there's been some delays. Only right there, but there's been some delays in the process.
Any additional discussion about the CMAR? No, hearing none, call the question.
Then Mr. Stein's GCON just built the Oak campus.
Making motion.
They'll be finishing it out.
Yes.
I made it and he second.
And then, so Garcia second.
Smiley, did you vote?
Smiley, did you vote?
Did you vote?
Yes.
Sorry, wait, in person, let's.
A motion passes.
Is that how that works?
I don't know, see, I'm my first kid.
Oh, you know what? It's alphabetical order.
Yeah.
First name.
Yeah, I'm at the other.
All right,
Future agenda items.
final agenda item is future agenda items. Anything from the board?
I asked for it last month, they probably forgot, is the employee goals for the non-301, how are they doing? I just want to make sure that if people are on track or not, are they, is it equitable for everybody?
Reflecting all the data that's coming in February.
And then another fun fact, getting back on my PV soapbox. We were talking about
Features in
how
it.
far Gila Bend is from the Southwest campus. Just to give you context, Gila Bend's high school is closer than any Paradise Valley high school, and we're not providing any transportation. So again, you know,
What can we do about the transportation?
what can we do about the transportation? Because we know transportation is an issue.
Okay,
They just relieved their superintendent, right?
any additional agenda items?
Same thing we're doing up there.
Let's give them the option.
Okay. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Because right now we have about 85.
All right,
Everybody's on board with this.
second? I second.
Second.
All right, thank you.